Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NECC League tonight. We've got the college playoffs, and I'm going to be joined for this by Boxy.
Hey man, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We've got two teams here. It's Western Colorado versus Fanshawe Fuel. You know that team very well. And it's going to be the first game of the entire thing, pretty much. It's going to be a double elimination bracket, and the prize pool is going to be $525 to the winner. So quite a little bit on the table.
Yeah, it's a 3-day event, if I'm not mistaken, right? We start today, we end on Monday. There's going to be matches every single day with a best-of-5 final out across the Challengers division. And since we're already on a bit of a delay, we're kind of 30 minutes behind schedule, we're just going to throw it straight to the game. So again, Western Colorado versus Fanshawe, with Fanshawe Fuel being on defense first, which means they get to ban their operators first. Who do you think we're going to see banned here?
Oh, if I had to take a guess, that probably wouldn't have been the one of the ones that I guessed. But if I had
didn't
to take
give
a guess,
time,
it would be
sorry.
Thatcher, and then followed by Valk, and then I don't know, either Mirror or Cade. People are usually pretty safe like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely true. Thatcher, I feel like, is just one of those staple bans that you just see, constantly. It doesn't even matter which map you're on. But it's actually going to be Ace, which means Thatcher is on the board, and we've now been made look like fools, which is fine, totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always down to see a little bit of a break from the meta. I mean, like, he's got, in most leagues that I've casted, like an 80% at least ban rate, so we're in the 20 percentile here, ladies and gentlemen. You don't see this every day. Are they going to continue with the crazy bans, or are they, not?
Nope.
Aid, there he is, but will they go for the Valk, or will we see a very, very defender? You know what, I can't necessarily say defender side because we have the Thatcher in, but do you think the Thatcher would outweigh the Valk if she's allowed?
I don't know. Valk, Mira, Vamai are the last three. One of those is going to be banned for sure. It's going to be Mira, which, again, is one of those staple bans. I really wouldn't be surprised if it was a Vamai ban instead, especially how great Vamai is just on about any site on Cafe. He's very useful in holding Pixel. He's very on the top floor. He's very useful in holding Bakery in Kitchen. So the fact that Vamai remains up is something that I think the attackers are kind of going to have a problem with. And there we go. He is being picked going into round 1. I do hope we stick on him. But what are your predictions? Sorry.
I was going to say, especially considering they don't have the Jaeger, he's really their only anti-util operator. So I would be a little bit upset if they did 6 pick off of him. But yeah, up here I'm expecting my shield hold inside of like the cigar around the Christmas tree room. It's pretty much you have to do it. It's what you'd expect. Valkyrie, I haven't seen her too much on this map, but I would expect her to be like just literally tossing cams everywhere, probably on the stairs, literally everywhere. Maybe even trying to go for an early peek outside because, Valk mains tend to do that. But I am a little bit out of my element here. I haven't seen too many Valk plays. It just depends on how Perza wants to use her.
Yeah, well, you do have to time your runouts now more carefully because those cams do expire, right? That is a thing now, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least it was definitely going to get added into the game. I'm not sure
you're right.
It's like it. It is, right? Yeah. Okay.
You're right. What I meant is actually running out herself.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, it is going to be a top floor hold early on, so we're pretty much going by the book. The setup also isn't really deviating from what you see usually in, just kind of gold, plat, even rank. And I do wanna know, like, for the entire game, what do you think? Are we going to be seeing a lot of these default pocket holds, or are we going to see any wild deviation from that?
Well, what I do think is if we saw Thatcher being brought out instead of the Flores, it would be a lot harder for Wamai to be holding that spot, because even if he catches it with one of his Wamai discs, it would still blow him up. So I think that we're probably going to be seeing Thatcher being brought down, especially if they think about that use of it. But we do see the Flores being brought out. He's already using one of his Rotero drones. I think that's going to be their main course of action in order to try and take control over the cigar lounge, is getting rid of that shield with one of those. But I mean, they do have a couple of backups, or less backups now that all the grenades have been used by Finka.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Flores, by the way. I just kind of want to talk about that very, very quickly. His drones just have so many use cases. Now he also has 2 claymores, which is also great. You don't need to rely solely on Nomad for a flank watch, which is always great. But the Flores drones, you can use them obviously to destroy the defender gadgets. You can use them to kind of flush the defenders out of their positions, but you can also use them to just kind of either create vertical holes in case your crossbreach dies, or even just use them as entry drones. Speaking of entry drones, it's going to be Brandon who's going to get the entry onto Recycle, which means exactly what I was talking about. Buck is taken out first, so no more self-destruction for the attackers.
Yeah, not so much soft breach now. I mean, obviously, like you said, you have the Roteros, but that's not the way you want to be using them, and that's not the way you want to be throwing a flash either. Unfortunate. And he's going to be getting flashed up again. It's just flash central. Well, my disc's giving it right back to him. What goes around comes around. That is what Mai's life motto. But yeah, with about a minute left, so losing a lot of casualties, WCU, and I'm starting to lose faith in their ability to push up on this. They've lost a lot of util. You've got 2 flash grenades and 2 Rotero drones. Never mind, no longer any Rotero drones. An extra thick Ella, feel a little bit emboldened, and rightfully so, right in the face, and another. Lay it on extra thick Ella.
Well, round 1 was flawless, and really the hold was flawless, honestly. The defense, they stood their ground, they fell back when they needed to, they burned the attacker's utility away. It really wasn't even close. So, I don't know, Western Colorado, they were kind of warming up. We still saw, you know, they kind of misdroned, they misflashed even, or flashed themselves rather, and their teammates. So hopefully we can fix all of those going into round 2, because round 1 was really just extremely one-sided.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to address the problem that as soon as Buck died off the rip, they had pretty much no soft breaching by bringing like 3 soft breachers. Although they do that at the expense of a hard breacher. That's not like the end of the world on the kitchen site, but it still would definitely help you out, especially if you try it. It just limits your options a lot. You pretty much have to go from a top down and hope that they haven't reinforced the hatches, which they probably will. And so it's going to definitely limit the options of WCU in this instance.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to be seeing a kitchen defense now, and again, I think it's going to be one of those very default holds, at least looking at the operators. We have the Jaeger, the Omai, the Mute, the Smoke, and the Valkyrie. And again, there's still play with those Valkyrie cameras. There's so many tight angles and spots and corners you can put them in here. You can be very aggressive with them. You can be very passive with them. And I want to see what WCU are going to do to counter those. We do have a repick onto an IQ, which means that, you know, they can hunt those cameras down, but will the IQ even stay alive long enough to be able to do that? Because last round, I think it was them that died first.
Yeah, they didn't even get a single kill last round, WCU, so yes, all the kills went to the favor of Fuel. Now, I am a little bit curious. If you look at how many Claymores they brought, they did bring some hard breaching charges, which is good. But what do you think about that? Those 6 Claymore charges. You think they're gonna get like 5 Claymore kills with those? But also, looking at the fact that they have 2 anti-util players, I'm wondering how they're gonna get those grenades past them.
That's a solid point. Maybe WCU didn't get the memo that now operators get 2 Claymores per operator, and they were like, we need 3 Claymores, right? Just, you know, bring 3 operators with Claymores. That could be a viable. I don't know how they are gonna get their grenades off, or the Zofia stuns. I guess they could use those to burn and the breaches, but
they are very limited in their options here. That is the truth. But I mean, they are going to be coming out from the top-down perspective, like I thought. That's pretty much how you want to be taking the site, regardless. They do get rid of one of the mute charges on the wall, so that does leave that as an option open for them now. Interesting. That was very ambitious. Usually you do it in the opposite order, but you know, as long as you don't die, man, that puts you down to only 1 grenade.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that happen before, but execute a little bit more flawlessly, fluently, whatever. And it's gonna be Sledge dying first. So once again, Fuel just getting the opening on Fanshawe, rather, as you should probably call them, and well, they're just chilling. A minute left. They already wasted 2 minutes. Valkyrie does get down, then it was gonna get taken out by Zofia in a matter of seconds. There we go, finally. Finishes that kill, but it's a 4v4, 55 seconds left in the attack. They have some control on the top 4, but that's all they have going on for them. Recycle first, though. He increases the advantage. It's Copper Tiger as well. Nonetheless, but Claude will actually make sure that WCU retain their advantage for the time being.
Yeah, no, they did kill the smoke, so all of their players that they're typically going to depend on in the late game are going to be dead. They do have one C4 in their back pocket, and they probably will need it. So, and that's the one thing that they have in order to keep them off the site aside from their guns. Good shot from Extra Thick Ella, going to be throwing down an extra Midas to make sure that any of their single grenade doesn't come in and kill them. But yeah, trying to open up another angle here through Kitchen. Shrimp. He's looking right back on through it. It's about to be a push, and they're nice and ready for it. Not so ready as I thought. Extra Thick Ella just trying to stay alive. 3 seconds left. He's about to turn the corner just in time, and wow, wow, wow. WCU, against all odds and against time, will be taking this round.
I mean, by the skin on their teeth, right? That's how we can paint the round. That's literally the only way to describe the round. I don't know, it was way too close for comfort. They stormed into the site with, 25 seconds left, and they somehow won their ones. Defense, I feel like, was playing it well. They had the crossfires going on. They were tracking all the right corners. They just ended up losing the gunfights. Last round really could have been anyone's, but keep in mind, round 1 was a flawless one. So on paper, Fuel have been the better team so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, statistically they have been. Although I do think that going into that round, WCU, regardless of what util they brought, they had the idea that this Valkyrie pick and the cams are going to allow for a lot of roaming on an already roaming heavy site. So they were trying to just be extra careful of the anti-roaming, and it was it actually worked out really well. They caught 2 of the major players off site. Not only did they catch the Valkyrie, which is a C4 off the table, but you also catch the smoke, which means your late game hold for Fuel is no longer as tenable. If he was able to stay alive inside the site, I don't think WCU would have been able to push it that easily, because I know he would have at least had 2 charges there left at the end, and he would have just been throwing them down, timing it out. It would have been much harder for WCU to do that. And so, if they can manage to keep up a lot of their late game players in this hold, I think that Fuel will be doing a lot better this time around. But then again, they haven't really brought someone for the late game like Smoke like last time.
Yeah, I'm definitely missing a Smoke or even a Tachanka maybe on their lineup, and I do want to see how this plays out, but not too confident. They have brought the Bandit, which wasn't a thing earlier, and it feels like just one of those decisions, like, okay, I was roaming with Smoke, I died, I'm just going to bring a roamer, place down my utility on side, and then going to go hunt for kills, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it could end up working out.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said about knowing your own limitations and trying to pick an operator that you are good with instead of just one that's overall good. So yeah, I don't totally blame him for that. It just definitely stings that you're not going to have somebody with the area denial at the end of the game like that, as we know.
I mean, sorry. Look at their lineup. They have the Wamai and the Jaeger, which I'm a huge fan of. You need those just always, right? And then the Mute or the Bandit. Usually not both. Usually it's both, sure, fine, whatever, but then your 5th operator, I'm sorry, cannot be Frost. That's just not how it works. You only get to bring 5, you have to prioritize, and I do feel like Fuel, they are kind of misplaying, or at least mispicking their operators. They could still win just off of gunfights, but not for the time being. Livid gets the entry, and that's the Jaeger of the board. Surely he's placed his ADSs by now, so at least there's that, but that's still a good gun off the board for Fuel for the remainder of the round.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of this roaming that they're doing, you notice they have the Wamai on the roam. The only one that's really in and on the site, from what I can tell, is going to be the Frost. And with the Lion and the Nomad combo, it's going to be making it very hard for people to get back to the site in time. Good thing they have the Mute down there. That's going to aid them a little bit. But even if they don't find the roamers with them in the time that they have remaining, I think that they can still go for a quick take on the site and just say, screw the roamers, we're going to go for the site right now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, again, if you have the Mute, just don't pick the Bandit. Go even for a Vigil. Even Vigil, which is one of the most portraits, would have helped with that Lion. And Lion has been brought in the previous 2 rounds as well, meaning that Fuel, they could be ready for it. Regardless, though, there's quite a bit of vertical pressure being created, but Trains hasn't actually been cleared out, and Ella is playing there. A few pop shots coming out, none connect just yet, but she skillfully dodges a grenade. Claude gets another kill with the buck. He ate, though, and now Ella is getting overwhelmed above, pushed from 2 different angles, both from mining and dining, doesn't know which way to turn, finally gets taken out, so it's a 5v2, but only 30 seconds left. You'll now wish they had the Smoke on their lineup, but alas, they don't have that. Copper gets one before immediately being refragged. Lion scans being popped. It's a 4v1, and I don't see Fuel winning this one.
Oh, I mean, never say never. Goes and gets the first one. The plant will have to come down, and it will. So, it's going to be very difficult for Perza. I'm not trying to deny that. Especially since he's got the vertical peak now being used against him. Oh, Perza, I do not envy you, my friend. Cam Louie looking to come down the stairs and get another cutoff point. This is a good post-plant setup coming in for WCU. They realize where he is. They set up for the opposite. Cooking in an nade, seeing if he's still there, but his sense left. Perza, realizing that time is of the essence, just going to try and do something, anything, but Boo is going to be putting him down just as pretty much a lot of people would expect.
Yeah. Again, with how well Fanshawe did in round 1, I really expected him to do better going into rounds 2 and 3, but Western Colorado, they've really picked up the slack. They haven't really been making mistakes as big as they have in round 1, and it's showing. The scoreline is reflecting that, and slowly but surely they're pulling ahead. I haven't casted either of these teams before. I'm not sure if you have, but I was going to ask you for predictions before we got into the game. I just kind of ran out of time.
Oh, that's all good, but if I had to make a prediction just strictly based off of the stats, I would have to say WCU are going to be my favorites. I mean, they've already taken a lot of rounds on the offensive side of Cafe, which is not an easy task. This is usually the maximum of what you would expect people to be getting in an evenly matched game, so it leads me to believe that this game is not so evenly matched, Boxy. But also, in history, these guys have gotten pretty good placings, especially in comparison to Fuel. So for that reason, and how they've been doing so far, they have my pick for favorite.
True, but Fanshawe, they didn't participate in the 2021 season of NECC, so we really only have, kind of one season, one semester to go off of, and that is spring 2022. But I guess you're right, and regardless, we're going to be seeing top floor again coming into round number 4. Do you think it's another Fanshawe victory, or do WCU finally pull ahead, cement their early lead?
I think the fact that WCU bringing I thought they were going to be bringing the Thatcher, and that would have made holding the Cigar Lounge shield incredibly, incredibly hard, because all you gotta do is just throw one in there and then your Royal Shield is gone, dude. So, yeah, I think that would have definitely been a good pick for them, but they can still obviously get it done no matter what. They've got a lot of good variety for their util this time. They don't just have a whole bunch of one thing, namely Claymores. So I think that there's a lot that they can do in order to waste the Wamai shield down. It just all comes down to their execution. Also, Osa, I'm looking at that. It'd be pretty good for the anti-roam as well as pretty much anything else going for the site. So, yeah, the Osa, I'm really looking at how they're going to be using that in particular.
That's all very true, but I'm also a fan of the defensive lineup. It's much more evenly balanced, I feel like. We have the Smoke now, we have the Goyo now for extra denial, we have the Valk again for the cams. I'm a huge fan of this. I feel like it's much more balanced even out than it was going into round 3. So there's that, but it's not going to matter because Recycle Fur is going to get taken out less than a minute into the round. That's no more Lion scans, and they have been quite huge in securing the WCU's, first 2 minutes.
Yeah, Recycle's name being a little bit prophetic, considering the fact that he was the first one to die. I like this one from Boo. Knows that there's going to be someone trying to hold it down there, or maybe even a little bit closer. They're going to be seeing this Osa shield, though, and extra thick, walking right up to it. That's very, very ambitious, my friend. He's going to be trying to beat it down, though. Oh my god, he's actually able to take down the Osa as well. That's feeling pretty good for extra thick. He might be able to get this on the way out as well. Good shots on the Cam Louie. So it looks like, despite the fact that WCU are bringing the good util, you just still can't seem to take extra thick Ella off of this shield hold.
Well, 1 minute 15 seconds left on the clock. Playing below very, very patiently. Nothing happening as of yet, but Claude is going to be entering down below in garage, and will have to work their way up the white stairs or the brown if they choose to rotate, which is probably what's happening given that the yellow ping on the Goyo is coming out. I don't think the Goyo knows anyone's pushing right below him, and if he's not careful, he could get taken out. 45 seconds left, the flashbangs come in, and Claude mistimes that flashbang, decides to rotate all the way around, loses so much time, and now the Goyo is aware of their presence. Again, the WCU, they have their job cut out for them.
Yeah, and they're already going to be activating the Goyo shield to the stairs, making it so that he can't go up there, and forces him basically right into the path of Brenda, who takes the shots with the greatest of ease. Realizing where he's coming from, tap tap, and he is dead. So, yeah, that seems to be like the Obviously, you're not going to be able to play that site anymore for fuel. It's giving you a lot of good value, but eventually you're going to have to win either on the kitchen site or any of the other ones like reading place. Yeah, reading place, fireplace. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that this could also be a decent hold for them because, especially depending on how they play, if they get a good top-down approach, like their Womai has been doing a pretty good job of being some off-site presence. Even in the round that they lost, he held them up for so much time up inside of the train room. So I'm thinking that if they can use their roaming correctly, I think that this is going to be a good round for Fuel again.
Absolutely agreed. And we are going to be seeing reading and fireplace, which is a first for the series. So again, it's kind of a new playing field, I want to say. We've seen the top floor twice, we've seen the bottom floor twice, so we kind of have an idea of what to expect from both Fuel and Western Colorado. But this one is a wild card, in my opinion. It could really go either way.
Yeah, I mean, it is a third pick for a reason, but it's also, in my opinion, sometimes I see a lot of teams not afraid of doing this at all, and sometimes I'll pick it very early on to try and, like, throw a team off. Obviously, that was pre the fact that you can change your attackers, but the point still stands. Teams feel very comfortable on the site, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw Fuel coming out with a setup. Yeah, they're trying to hold it from a top-down perspective as well, obviously because all the floor is breakable, but also it just forces Fuel to come in from a very limited amount of places as well. So I think that Fuel, based on what I've seen so far, can definitely do a good job of holding this. What I really want to see is how extra thick Ella is going to be doing this, for real.
I mean, 2-0 at the moment. You can kind of imagine how it's going to go, at least if they keep following the trend. The one opponent that I want to keep my eye on, though, is Brando, because the castle, again, I'm a huge fan of. I rave about this literally every time I cast. I feel like castle is so underutilized, and then when teams bring him, I'm just very happy. Unless, obviously, they bought the setup. But I have complete faith in Fuel, and hopefully they don't let me down.
Yeah, we'll see. It's 2-2 right now, which is WCU, judging by how this map usually plays out, is pretty much what you would expect them to be getting at minimum. So any round that they get from this point forward, I consider as a bonus, and they'll be winning.
Yeah.
So, Livid already making his way on the inside. There's could potentially have been a player there chilling in the cocktail lounge, but I guess there's not going to be anyone there this time. Ooh, almost killing your own player, unfortunately, but gonna only be revealing him for Brando. So, the castle, you mentioned him, and he's already having some good effect.
With the worst gun in the game, nonetheless, and that's bug that. That's so very devastating for WCU, because when you're attacking Fireplace, you want all the vertical destruction you can bring, and now Bug being dead just after entering the building, well, that's not going to bode very well for you. Excuse me, English hard. Regardless, though, Fuel, they have the advantage. They need to hold on to it, though. I think they've completed the win up for now, so he is going to be open to convert hold. But if he dies, it's over, at least for the vertical presence of Western Colorado. Everyone from Fuel seems to kind of just be roaming around the bomb sites or being on bomb site. Livid's gonna drop down, get a kill, maybe even two. Recycle first gonna help with one. Oh no, nomading the Valkyrie, but it ends up working out for him anyways. 4v2 now, and the control of site established. Extra thick Ella will have to. They're patiently waiting, and they could get someone crossing from useless, but they need to start pushing. The plant is going down. The Nomad air jibs are being deployed. 40 seconds left, and the plant is nearly over. Lions King comes out as well. Triple for Livid, and Ella has to clutch this one out in order for Fuel to not fall behind WCU. Swings very carefully, very slowly. They don't have the time to do that. They need to go now. Finds the first one. Nice shots. Looks in the right direction. Look for the prone player. Finds him. That's a double for Ella. And now it's a 1v2, but the Sledge is playing above. Livid low on HP as well, so one or two shots will put them down and out of contention for the round, with Kami creating all the vertical pressure they can. Won't even matter. That's 4 for Livid on the round, and a gray execute from Western Colorado. Excuse me, English is hard.
Yeah, a great round potentially in the making for Extra Thick Ella. Once again, is going to be slightly overshadowed by Livid. Oh my god! Like I think I think I can speak for everybody when you get in a moment like that. You're like, oh shoot! Like you turn the corner, you think you're gonna die, but the fact that he was able to re-peek that and get the kill, that was just such a crazy moment. He hopped down the hatch. They knew he was there. He was able to kill the smoke and just walked right into the site, completely bypassing a lot of the setup off site that Fuel had had made just by one little kill. And from that, they're able to completely break this game wide open. Granted, the Wamai, you always got to be careful with him. You don't want to be going up against him first, but if you save him for last, it seems like you can generally deal with him pretty well.
Yeah, it feels like whichever team doesn't get the opening ends up winning the round. It's always like, oh yeah, they have the advantage. Surely they'll win this now, and then they somehow end up losing it. I feel like, apart from round 1, which was a flawless, it just kind of been happening over and over again.
Yeah, that's not what you would usually expect, Boxy. Usually that gives you a big advantage, but from what I can tell, a lot of the players that are getting lost early on for WCU are their soft creatures like Claude. And so that's something that you can easily replace. You've got 2 people like that on the roster. But Fuel, a lot of the people that they lose early on are Copper Tiger and the Smoke. Those are 2 completely different things. That's a player you need to stay alive, very integral to your hold. Whereas, again, Claude is, regardless of, for lack of a better term, easily replaceable.
Yeah, but the thing with Claude is that I'm pretty sure out of the 6 rounds so far, they were the entry death on 3 of those. They do have 4 kills as well, which is fine, but I think they got 3 of their kills in round number 2 on Kitchen when they kind of won that 1vx in the last second. So if you take out round number 2, they haven't really contributed much on that buck, and that kind of saddens me. Hopefully they can do more this time around. I guess we'll see.
I mean, he's about to have his chance up against Extra Thick Ella. A lot of flashbangs coming in, and I'm sure that he's going to be trying to peel on away from that. Holding top is not worth losing your life. You just gotta try to slow him down, try to get a kill, and if you can't do either, you just try and play your life. He's still holding his ground, though, up against Claude. So I'm wondering how much time has it ticked by before Claude tries to prod at him anymore.
I mean, honestly, if I'm a WCU player and if I know where Extra Thick Ella is, I'm just gonna push the other way.
Right.
Extra Thick Ella currently 10 and 3. They're just showing no signs of slowing down. Shrimp still at 0, and then there's Brando at 6, Copper and Perza at 1 and 3 2x. So, well, it's currently a one-man show really for the side of you. Let's see if they can keep the show going though. Someone's right next to them. They're actually pinched, but they don't know. Someone's behind them as well. They need to go Brando on the stairs to help out with the UMP, but they're not successful yet. The flash is coming out, and there we go. Livid finds the kill. However, Brando's there to at least get 1 for 1. Dishes out a little bit of damage, but takes more in return. Yes. So there is that. Now smart to fall back onto the side, waste as much time as you can. 1 minute left, so you kind of have to stall.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing this time is that you have your smokes still alive. You can start getting in a position to throw your smokes out. So, yeah, they've got the Malusis as well. If their opponents have to come down eventually, and if they want to come down the stairs, they're going to have to deal with all the denial. But if they want to come down the hatch, they're in a predictable position that can be pre-fired. But, ooh, you're going to get shot from the ceiling by Claude. Unfortunate. Copper Tiger getting pushed up on pretty hard, too. Liv has been pretty nasty with the shots recently, so I wouldn't want to challenge him with a shotgun either. Gonna just try and bide his time, force him on back, force him to take a little bit of damage if he wants to push him, but he's getting collapsed on all sides. So, with the diffuser going down, Fuel is slowly losing their grasp on this game.
Yeah, I don't know where Perza is. They've just kind of been AFK. Well, there they go. Double for Claude and an air jab going to catch the smoke, but she pushes up. Livid falls due to the shotgun of the smoke. Take the SMG-11 out. Why are you swinging with the shotgun? There we go, finally, but it's too little too late. Claude gets another kill, and that's another round and a 4-2 split for Western Colorado.
Yeah, they also put a cheeky Claymore down on it, and with the amount of time that he had left, I don't know if he would have necessarily expected that. But either way, WCU pretty much going completely against what we would be expecting and taking a 4-2 on the Cafe Dostoevsky on the attack, not on the defense, mind you. And so now going on to their defensive side, it seems like, yeah, they're going to be bringing out an Aruni that their opponents did not do, and so that's going to be pretty effective in terms of the util denial.
Yeah. Before we switch sides, or I guess we already have, but before we kind of get into that, I just kind of want to give some praise to Boo or Bo or whatever you want to call them. It just feels like they were, I think they're 2-4, maybe 2-5, but they were on IQ every single round. And way too often when watching R6, especially Collegiate or T2, T3, you see the IQ just sprint into the building with the 5.52 commando and either, get a pick or die. We've seen Boo, Bo, on the roof every single time, pinging utility for his teammates. They haven't entered the building for at least 2 minutes. They were just kind of scouting out the areas ahead for their teammate. And it feels like so many IQs forget to do that. They just kind of play her for the gun. So, you know, you may not have fragged out, but you've contributed a lot in my mind, in my heart.
Yeah, Bo's just like, you pick IQ for the gun, I pick IQ for the util. We are not the same.
We are not the same. Yeah.
We are not the same. But yeah, I mean, it was very effective. I do agree with you. They're able to always figure out where their opponent's util is at. That's something that their opponents aren't going to be able to do. Although the one thing I am a little bit curious about is with the Rooney pick as opposed to the Wamai, you're not going to be able to easily hold down that shield in Cigar Lounge. So I'm curious what they're going to do instead of that to try and hold back the WCU team. Sorry, the Fuel players.
Yeah. I guess we're gonna see, but like you said, WCU, they won 4 rounds on Cafe Attack, so now that they're on defense, which should be the, you know, preferable side, they should just win this without any major hiccups. But we've seen huger surprises before, we've seen huger comebacks in a deficit before, so who knows?
Yeah, I've seen the most amazing comebacks on this map. As soon as you switch up to that defender side, things really do change. But typically, it's on the attacker side that you do worse on, and WCU has already shown that they are very, very capable of doing the attacks. Fuel, in the meantime, it's been about a minute, and they're still on the rooftops. The Renegade is going to be denying any sort of intel, so she's also doubling as an anti-intel operator. Can definitely do that. It's working out pretty good.
If only we had
is going to be going down. Go ahead.
Sorry, if only we had like 12 flashes on that roof, and we could have burned that, you know, a Renegade, a Surya gate, with a flashbang. That would have been awesome.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, I mean, they do have 9 of them, like you said. They're starting to make some good use of them, and ooh, I like this from Claude. Making his way over towards mining and going up the red stairs. He does have some people down there. They knew generally that there were people coming down from there. With the amount of time remaining, it's very likely that they have already hopped down. And yes, you see Extra Thick Hella has already done that. Very wary of the Goyo trap on the ground, but you gotta be very wary of the Goyo on the flank as well.
Oh, nope. There you go. The Halana falls, gets overly aggressive, shut down by Livid. What I was gonna say, that flank from Goyo was feeling a little too early. I feel like at this stage of the game, there's still someone on the hatch watching the flank actively, or at least on a drone, you get caught out. And I like the fact that the Goyo is just kind of waiting on those red stairs, waiting below for his time. Or once the push is actually called by his teammates, because then he can kind of wreak havoc on the flank. Regardless, though, the cigar control has been established, and the time is now as Claude Flames gets the first one, make that 2 both clean headshots with the Vector, and now it's all up to Copper Tiger and Persa. Not looking great for them. One in Cigar Shop, and the other one still on the roof. They have to meet up now. Persa is getting shot at from all possible angles. Should you bullets reloads? I don't know why you did that, but Claude shows no signs of slowing. He gets the 3rd one, and a 4th one with a pistol for a flawless round of Western Colorados. And it's very interesting that defense has won flawless on rounds 1 and 7 so far.
Yeah, that is a little bit of an interesting thing you point out. I can't just put my finger on a reason for that. I feel like it's both sides generally. Like, attacking is obviously harder on this map. So you try to feel out what your opponents are wanting to do, and then you typically tend to do a little bit better. WCU, that was absolutely true for them. They took 4 rounds after the initial difficulty in the first one. But, I mean, Fuel, is it going to be the same story for them? I'm not necessarily sure. They have a lot of anti-roam here, but it's... I don't know. What do you think about the setup that they got?
It's very funny to me that they're bringing this much anti-roam, where they're the ones that bent Jackal. It just kind of doesn't really click for me, but we'll see. Also, wrapping back to the previous round, I don't think we can talk about how well WCU did. It was really all Claude. It was a 4K from them, and the rest of Western Colorado, they didn't even break the squad. They were just chilling on side. We've seen 1 or 2 of them throughout the round. Everything else was just the Goyo on the flank. So again, huge props to them. They've really been stepping up. 11 and 4 at the moment, while the rest of their team is, well, Livid is a 9. Everyone else is just a 2 right now. So there's that.
I think they could have brought, like, what, 6 Claymores, and it still wouldn't have been enough to stop that Goyo, man. Obviously, jokes going back to earlier. But WCU, Now on the defense again of usually the tertiary site, but they're picking a second. Goes back to what I was saying about teams feeling pretty dang confident on the site. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up to you, Boxy, is Boo is going to be the first person to pick out the Ella, and I'm a little bit disappointed that we haven't been seeing Extra Thick Ella playing Ella a little bit more.
Oh, boo-hoo. Get it? Huh? No?
Boo-hoo,
Okay.
I do get it.
Ha ha ha, I'm horrible, I'm sorry. I hang out with Chief too much. But yeah, I was kind of waiting for that. I was going to comment on the fact that Extra Thick Ella was only playing with my. It kind of felt like blasphemy, but it is what it is. And finally, we're getting to see the Ella play. It would have been even funnier if it would have been the Ella shotgun, but it is the Scorpion, and I do want to see what Boo can do with the Scorpion.
What it do, Boo? That is the question. But yeah, I kind of want to see how they're approaching the site now. They have quite a lot of smokes, and so I'm curious to see if they're just going to try and... What are they going to try and do with that? Just like smoke out everything and just like try and make a hot drop eventually? I think that's what they're leaving it open for that. Oh, look at this! Hot drop for Extra Thick Ella. Going to be helping Copper Tiger fry one out. Claude now on task to do something. Man, they're getting shot at from absolutely everywhere.
What is happening?
Ella does eventually die, but does do quite a bit of damage in the process.
Okay, well, E1D, or the EDD trap rather, helping out as well. Double for Claude as well, and he's still swinging low on HP, but that doesn't stop. Then goes for another swing, doesn't quite connect, but now the Twitch know where they are. The F2's devastating, but Claude, he still gets the kill, the headshot, finishes the round, and edges his team onto map point.
And maybe not as effective as I thought, that push from Extra Thick Ella. He helped get the one kill, and I thought that just a pure shock value would throw WCU through a loop potentially. I mean, we saw that happen up against Fuel when they were on the defense. One player slipping through the cracks when you don't expect it can be absolutely, detrimental to your success. But, I mean, they were obviously able to react pretty quickly. It's not just to the guy that actually made their way onto the site, but the people that tried to capitalize off the chaos on the site. Bringing back the Aruni once again, did some pretty good stuff with her the last time, and so on this site, it's going to be making it a little bit difficult. You're going to have to save up some util in order to get down those hatches this time.
I wanted to speak to you about this. You were talking about the potential uses for the smokes, the grenades, everything last round coming out from Fuel, and it feels like not even just Fuel, Western Colorado as well. I don't know, the utility usage has been lackluster in my opinion. We've seen, the most default utility used, but anything past that, it's been a hit or miss, really. We've seen a few flashes chucked out, we've seen a few grenades thrown out, but other than that, I don't know, smokes haven't really been used, track stingers were used very little, nomad air jabs, we've seen them shot at a person in a gunfight more than we've seen them deployed, like, actually to secure flanks. So, I don't know. I feel like this is something that we need to keep our eyes on going into Game 2, or Map 2, rather. And it needs to improve for both teams, but especially Fuel, as they are the one facing a loss here on Cafe.
Yeah, and I am going to agree with you 100% that the util usage hasn't been optimized, we'll say, for either team. But looking at Fuel now, they are bringing a lot more variety of things. Only 2 smokes this time, and that's just about all you need. A lot of flashes, a couple of grenades. And so, just from looking at it from, checking all the boxes perspective, they are doing that. So, so they shouldn't be hindered too much by the Aruni gates if they do put them on the hatches and they want to go down and drop in eventually. If they do manage to keep their util for that long.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Fuel switch out one of their flash operators or another set of nades. Maybe even... Actually, do have a gun 6, I think. I hope, at least. So, yeah, I would have preferred a little bit of more nades, but we do only have the Jaeger. There's no Wamai, so maybe one set is enough if you play around with your flashes carefully enough. But again, that is not something that Fuel will do, at least not off of what we've seen in the previous rounds. There's still time to change my mind, but the time is slowly ticking out. You're really getting quite aggressive with the LMG, and there we go. The first nade deployed won't hit anything, in my opinion, but we'll see what happens. Claude with the entry. Once again, Copper Tiger biting the bullet early on this time around.
Copper Tiger? Or like Paper Tiger? Just kidding, obviously. Yeah, WCT have been getting him quite a lot in the He's been the first blood quite considerably light. Ooh, Brendo.
Looking at him.
First on his screen for quite a little while, and then just gets shot right in the face. Good thing they got the refrag, though. Extra thick Ella laying it on once again as the counter push coming in from WCU, basically completely eviscerating themselves on that push. But they still have Boo and Cam Levi alive to make something happen. Making a human-sized hole in this wall, though, is going to be Shrimp Father. So with a minute left, this push is about to be happening.
Well, 2v3, still a lot of utility in the defenders' pockets, none left for the attackers' pockets rather, none left for the defenders. A very big hole coming right up as well onto the bakery wall, so there's that. There's another angle to look out for. The defenders, they're both kind of stuck in the back part of the map. The red pings are coming out, they're helping out a little bit, but there's still so much to look at. Both spots up one, but doesn't quite hit his shot. Extra thick Ella has 3 on the round. Shrimp will finish it out. And Fuel, they finally win another round, keeping themselves afloat and not losing out on Cafe just yet.
Yeah, man, good stuff on Fuel to hold their ground like that. I feel like WCU got a little bit too full of themselves, I'll say. As soon as they got a kill on the stairs, they all just peeked around the corner, and then they all got fried by Extra Thick Ella. Man, the guy has been doing great the entire time despite the scoreline, and so I feel like they sort of forgot who he was for a second, and he's instantly making them put some respect back on the name after that round.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this should have been a Western Colorado map already, and Fuel, they've been given a golden ticket, an extra chance, an extra life, whatever you want to call it, and they really need to capitalize on it. Their rounds, even though they won the last one, can be as sloppy, and again, their utility usage needs to be optimized. I feel like that is the biggest problem they have, besides maybe a small lack of droning. They do drone, but I feel like they could drone. And besides that, again, utility. It feels like they just kind of have their players play what they want to play, and then if the player finds themselves in a position where they can use their utility, they do it, but they don't play around. They don't position themselves around the utility they have at their disposal, and that's probably their biggest flaw.
And once again, I'm going to ask the question, Boxy. How are they going to hold this cigar shield? They don't have really a single person that's dedicated to the anti-utility. As soon as they throw the first grenade at that shield, it's going to be gonzo. So what sort of backup plans do they have in place? I think they're going for a little bit more of a defense in depth with the trap operators. They got 3 of them, so that would be my guess, but I still am suspicious of this.
I really think it's going to be another one of those, hey, Claude, just go shoot for them in the back type scenarios. It's just one of those, like, well, we'll just get the kills. We don't need to hold Pixel. We don't need to even take our fights there. I do want to see what happens. The second shield, very risky, because that if your Pixel shield gets destroyed, you'll have to vault the second one to get out of there, and you're probably going to get shot in the back while doing so. So that's a huge misplay going out from WCU, unless I'm missing something very obvious, but I don't think I am.
I'm inclined to agree with you on that one, Boxy. That could be... I'm sure that it could be better used in other places as well. So once again, unoptimized util strikes again. But they still have a way to win this round, like as you said. If they're not watching the flank after they get really stuck in, then Claude could punish them like he did the last time. They're starting to figure out what avenues of attack they're trying to do. They know that they're coming in from certain windows, and still without about a minute or so has gone by, and nothing too much has been gained in terms of intel. But ooh, that's going to be a good way to start things off. You take down the Warden, and that is first blood in the hands of Fuel.
Look at where the Warden died. It's on Pixel. It's behind the shield or in front of the shield, however you want to, frame it. And the Lions, again, they will also give out the second person's position. Boo goes for the swings, does a little bit of damage, but those are not the gunfights he should be taking with the Scorpion. Claude does get the refrag though, so Perza will fall. Boo now getting pushed out, and he needs to be careful. Copper Tiger will take out Claude as well, and that's the 2 main fraggers for WCU off the board. Fuel, again, they have a slight hope of surviving this one, especially if Boo gets overly aggressive here, and that is very likely to happen. Wings, again, doesn't spot the head just yet, but they could get now. Drone will save whoever was behind that shield for the time being.
And with a minute left, a lot of ground has been gained in a short amount of time for Fuel. First smoke's going to be going out. They've caught the shield in their favor now, so it's looking like a ticking time bomb. WCU, the onus is definitely on them to make something crazy happen, because as of right now, they are my mind, in serious danger of losing the round, especially when the
Oh,
cycle getting
no.
dragged out like that. It's all on Cam Levi to kill 4 players or to deny the plant. You've got Brendo going for the plant right now, and they will be finding both Recycle First and Cam Levi. So it's going to be another difficult setup, we'll say, leading to a loss for WCU.
You don't want to see the face that I'm making right now. It's a blend of pain and disappointment.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day has been ruined by that hold.
My night has been ruined. It's a 1:13 a.m. So yeah, my night's been ruined. It really feels like, and this is harsh. I know it's harsh, but it feels like WCU at this point didn't want to win. They're just bringing random operators going for the kills, and that's not something you can be doing when only 2 of your people actually fragging out. It's just been Claude and Livid. They were the first 2 deaths on WCU last round, and after that it was all just downhill. Recycle, Boo, and Cam, they couldn't do enough to salvage the round. I really hope WCU, either in this round or in the next one, they compose themselves, or they have enough composure that they actually, just kind of properly hold another round. Their operator picks do reflect that, or at least indicate that that is going to be happening, but I don't know, they're all just sprinting around the map going for those kills, and I don't know. I'm frustrated.
It's alright. I mean, it does seem that WCU at least realizes that something has to change from the last round, and so they're going to be bringing out a Rook, something that we haven't seen yet. He's got a couple of impact grenades that he could use if they were trying to do a Maverick trick, but we haven't seen a single Maverick yet. But, you know, obviously there are things that you can do with that. They're setting up a lot of bulletproof cams, so in theory the intel for WCU in this round should be pretty immense. Especially if they're able to throw down those Aruni gates on like one of these more well-traveled hatches, they can sort of make it so that they aren't going to be getting attacked from so many vectors, and they can focus more on certain areas. And with, again, with those amount of bulletproof cams, that should be something that helps them win this round.
Yeah, look at Cam though. They have switched from the DMR onto the SMG. I want to know if that's just like a side preference or if they have something else in mind. But I do want to see how they do throughout the round with the SMG in hand.
I mean, you know, faster gun, faster headshots. Like, more bullets, more potential to get headshots. And so that's probably the idea behind that.
Yeah, but the DMR, it hits like a truck, though.
It definitely does. But, I mean, you're always trying to go for the heads.
Dude, just click the head.
Just click the head. Easy.
The head.
But
Really, that's simple.
Extra Thick Ella already in the thick of things and is going to be finding the Aruni. Ooh, that's the Roam already off the table in a major aspect. Getting banged through the wall potentially, but he's unable to secure the kill. Good shot from Bruno on the line on the stairs. So, you've got equal trades as of right now, Boxing.
Ella very low on HP. They're still swinging this very boldly. They're also spotted in the bulletproof cam, so there's that. Claude with the pistol, probably out of bullets on the primary, gets taken out by the Gridlock, but deals out massive damage in return. I was almost sure Gridlock's still going to take the damage from the Aruni gate because they didn't wait long enough, but they somehow went through it unscathed. 3v4 currently. Feel they do have the upper hand, but WCU can still pull back. Livid's still alive on full HP as well, and they still have some utility in their pocket. Actually, just keep grenades. But, well, those tracks will miss, so there is that. That was the last set of tracks as well. Employ anymore. One smoke left in pocket. I want to see what they do with it. The Recycle takes so much damage, deals out none. Return finally taken out. That's a double for the Gridlock as we transition into a 2v4 in the final 50 seconds.
That leaves just Boo and Livid. One of the players you would love to see alive in this situation. If you had to pick one, it would definitely be Livid. He's able to take down one already. That's going to be Brendo, who is already out of util anyway, so all he would have been able to really contribute is the guns. And look at this. They've still got quite a considerable amount of util. They've got flashes, they've got Rotero drones, they've got literally everything to hit the site with in the last 30 seconds. So they do manage to find Livid. Boo able to get a good shot onto one of them, but Extra Thick's got the bomb. He's on the site. He's got a teammate watching over him from a different angle. He's got Shrimp inside of the laundry room. So, this is going to be a very difficult way to find your way back in for Boo.
Yeah, but no one's playing verticals. That's a problem. I really wish no one was playing above. It is a 1v2 post plan, and the secondary hard breach also deployed. Huck is going to use it to try and get an angle onto Boo. Boo has already crossed. He does hear one, I'm pretty sure, but he doesn't want to give away his position just yet. No pre-fires, misses, gets the defuse taken out by Shrimp, and we're just one round away off of either Western California winning this or going into overtime. There's no other option.
Uh-oh. This is, Did something change, Boxy, or did they change Cafe Dostoevsky to make it an attacker side of map? Because this does not go how I usually cast these maps. But I mean, hey, Fuel, they're giving them the business. What else can you really say other than that? Extra thick Ella has been a huge aspect of their victory. Just better pinging, better swinging from the side of Fuel, and despite the fact that they didn't have the top-down approach, you can tell that Boo, from how he was looking, he was constantly looking up at the holes in the ceiling, anticipating it. And so I feel like the fact that they didn't go for that kind of messed him up even more because it was less expected.
Yeah, just looking at the stats off of Cafe, historically, it's been 57% defender sided. So 57% of the rounds they go in favor of defenders. But if you just look at the stats from the Charlotte going on right now, Cafe's been played 7 times, and it's actually 48% defensive win rate, which means attackers have been winning slightly more on Cafe than defenders. Yeah, you're welcome.
That is interesting, man. That's a little bit of a change from how it's gone in the past, outside of my experience, but I'm glad that I'm seeing it now. So, Fuel 1 round off of bringing it back into the potential for an overtime victory for themselves. WCU, I'm sure they're feeling this pressure a little bit. Obviously, you had a big score differential, and now you lost it. It's been a lot of losses in a row. That's got to weigh on you. But do you have the ice in order to get yourself out of the situation? That is the real question, Boxy.
I don't even know at this point, man. Whatever I say is going to happen is not going to happen, so I'm just going to...
The opposite of a caster's curse.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's been a wild game so far, and I'm glad that it has been a 1-0-7-0, but at the same time, it's like, whenever I think I know something's going to happen, it just the opposite happens, so... Limit going for the entry swing there, but Brendan's ready for it, and neither hits their opponent early on. It could have been very devastating, but we're still in a 5v5 for the time being. Limit, though, quite aggressive, goes for another swing off of a similar angle, decides to pull off at the last second, and that's probably for the best. Again, and I'll die. WCU are pretty much done for. They should play conservatively.
Yeah, I like the Muse. He pretty much anticipated the lion ping coming in, so he put one down. Always got to keep one in your back pocket in case there's a lion. But yeah, he made it show that he can still keep his position and still move without the lion knowing where he's at. So I kind of like that. But at the same time, it doesn't really, nothing's really been done yet. So I'm still open to see who's going to be making the first blood here. Terror drones coming in, starting to wreak havoc on the site as well as the hashes, and with a minute and a half left in the round, better late than never for Fuel to start making their first moves.
Yep. There we go, though. The entry pick goes in favor of Fuel as they find Claude, and again, that is huge for Fuel. But, oh no, a suicide grenade from Bren. I guess they did some vertical stuff again. We've already commented on that before. Regardless, 15 seconds left. A bit of vertical pressure being created. The Lion scan's coming off as well. But defense, they're just chilling inside right now. Yellow and red pinks coming off to help them as well. And the attack, they need to start moving soon. Rotero drones will be used for vertical hold this time, or rather for opening hatches. And now Ella will have to drop down. I'm not sure if they actually droned it out, and that could be a grave mistake. At least they shot the Capcan off the door, and that's already something. But look at that. All 4 players are either on site or right next to it. That Fuel, they need to just push in. They need to go for those refrags, use their utility. And they're very spread out. 40 seconds left. Persa just crouching into the side, and no one's contesting them yet. They're looking in the right direction. Just now you'll get the wall bang. No, he doesn't do that. But he will get the one inside. He goes for the swing. Jaeger's fallen, and now a second one on the doors, but no, he's taken out from behind the couch. It's limited with the refrag. 3v3, 20 seconds left, but make that a 2v4. Copper gets 2, or a 1v3 rather, excuse me. All up to Livid. 1v3. Can he get him? No plan coming out just yet, but there we go. Shrimp finishes the round. We're going into overtime, and again, I don't know what I'm watching.
Wow,
perplexed.
Who would have thunk it though, Boxy? Who would have thunk it? After that side that WCU had, they were looking very dominant. Obviously, aside from Ella, they were looking like thoroughly the better team in my opinion. But when you switch things up, it appears that Fuel are doing just as good on the attack. Fuel's going to get another opportunity to go into this attack, which has been statistically, in this, apparently in Charlotte as well as this, is going to be, in theory, what you want to be doing. They have pretty much exactly the same lineup as they brought the first time, and I mean, if it's not broke, why would you fix it?
Yeah. I mean, right, in Fuel, they will be attacking, which is better for them, right? Actually, no, defense. Wait, well, attack has been winning. Yeah, excuse me. So attack's been winning. Fuel is on attack, meaning that in theory they should close out map number 1. Will they do it though? What do you think?
I think that there's still the potential for WCU to do something crazy.
Okay.
It's a start. It's a start that they brought the Jaeger, so they will actually be able to do some anti-util on the Cigar Lounge shield. So that's something that's going to be better than last time. So Livid's not going to just get instantly eaten up by a pixel peek or a grenade. So it should be a lot easier to hold that down. And Fuel, they have been getting a lot of these late pushes. So with the time that they're going to need in order to clear things out extended by a little bit, I'm a little bit worried about that. That's my biggest worry is the time box.
Attacker's objective is to defuse
That we haven't mentioned yet, by the way, going throughout this series, or at least I don't think we have, is that this was actually Western California's map pick. They had the 4-2 lead, and then they were in match point for so long, but they threw the lead against Fuel. And honestly, if Fanshawe Fuel come back on Cafe, I think they'll do even better. Their momentum going into their map pick of Chalet will just be sky high, and WCU, they won't be able to counter it. That's just my prediction. If we want Western California, or Colorado, excuse me, to even have a fighting chance going into Chalet, which already in their map, they need to win Cafe as well.
Detected a bomb.
Going for a drive.
Yeah. It's gonna be a very slow round. I'm anticipating a very slow round. It's always been like that for Fuel on the attack. But I'm very curious. Is he gonna try and stay here and get a peek on somebody? Oh no, absolutely not. He's going to stay. Oh my goodness, he almost got punished for that one. They saw him a mile away. Ooh, it appears that they've already lost the shield or even never put it down in there. So it's gonna be maybe a quicker push than I thought for Fuel. What are you gonna do against this for your WCU?
Well, the first thing that I would do if I was Fuel was I would put my top fragger, the Tin 6, off of my Thermite so that they could, frag freely. But that's not something that Fuel has been doing. Then again, they did just pull off a huge comeback to push this into overtime, so who am I to tell them what to do? Claude getting a little bit of gas there, but pulls off at the last second, saving his life again. But now the attackers they are, and they will get pushed out, naded out as well, possibly. But Boo with the entry pick onto Shrimp. That's no more Retero drones as Flores falls. But again, with the aggressive screen, if they're not careful, they could lose their life. They actually get a pick. They increase WCU's advantage, and this could be one of those rare defender rounds if we go and keep the trend up. Copper Tire gets one onto Livid, and Claude falls as well. So that's two huge picks for Lion, but they also succumb to 2 shots eventually. Prismot might be triggered. 50 seconds left. A white flank is coming up, and it's just too much for the Finka. It's a triple for Boo. They finally fall. 1v2 now. And a 1v1 double for Perza. Can they get it? Whoever wins this is in a great predisposition to win this entire map in overtime. Perza looking in the wrong direction. Will they get shot out by Recycle? They haven't been doing well in this matchup. 3-8 versus 6-9 respectively. The plant will now be stuck. If there's no intel for Recycle, they're in big trouble, but they hear the plant sticking. They sprint up through the breach, and they get it.
Oh man, this is pressure as well as truly on Recycle. He's got a good ping. That is and they've still got some intel here. They're giving him live pings, and so he should generally know where he's at. That's a benefit that Perza does not have in his own favor. 25 seconds remaining. Recycle, is he going to try and stick it or bait him out? Yeah, he's definitely trying to bait him out. Perza going to take some shots, letting him know generally where he's at now. Recycle, really starting to lose this time. He's going to try and go through the little hole in the wall, but Perza sees it coming, and he will be getting the 3K for the win.
That was such a great round from Western Colorado early on, and then the Lion just came in and said, nope, not today. Got a double, even a triple if I'm not mistaken, and the damage was Fuel. They pulled ahead, and they got it.
Yeah, Fuel now for the first time of this entire series in the aside from the first round of the entire game, they're in the driver's seat. It's been a long time coming, them getting back into this position. And so, them switching over to the defense, they're going to the same site, and this was the one, let's not forget, that they've had the most success on so far. WCU, they've brought a million different comps. This time they're going to be bringing in the OSA. How do you feel about that?
I'm a fan of Osa personally. I have fun playing her when I'm, not doing comp, when I'm just kind of playing ranked or whatever with my friends. But she hasn't been doing well historically in, pro play or in competitive play rather. So I don't know. I actually don't know what the problem with Osa is. I feel like that would be an interesting in-depth discussion. She has a great gun. She has okay utility. She can be used to zone off certain angles. But again, just hasn't really been doing well in pro play.
And on the other side, you got the Thunderbird, who's not only a really good gun that you're bringing to the table, but you've also got the potential for them to heal after gunfights and a C4. So that's a huge pick coming out from Brendo. I remember that a lot of the fights that Fuel were taking, they would take a lot of chip damage because WCU are partial to trying to shoot through the wall. And so that does sort of negate that threat in a lot of aspects. The thing that's difficult is that they don't have shields this time, and that was a major aspect of a lot of their holds on this site. So obviously they have a plan, but it doesn't involve a bulletproof shield.
Yep. I'm pretty sure Osa has only been played in 1% of all the matches historically, although she has been released quite recently, so that kind of makes sense-ish.
I mean, this is the first season that she's allowed in competitive play, so that makes sense. But
yeah.
BC. Go ahead.
No, never mind. Let's focus on the round at hand. Copper Tiger gets the entry once again. They've been relentless and crucial for their team in the last few rounds. On Lion, on Rook now, they're just putting in the work. Random with the C4 toss, but it's a little too deep, doesn't catch anyone sadly. And now the C4, the precious C4 has been wasted. Would have been wiser to hold that, especially because Fuel they have been lacking in the late round and now, but it is what it is. The flashes are coming out. The Elsa shield are deployed on the windows as well. There are the Valkyrie cams as well, so there is some counterplay coming out from Fuel there. They just need one more round, while WCU they need to win 2 in a row in order to secure this one. Claude with the refrag though, so that at least the manpower is equalized right now. That's again huge for WCU.
Yeah, extra thick, trying the first run out of the game and instantly regrets it. Osa was totally ready for it, and so things are back even Stevens for WCU. It coming in, but it's going to be slightly off mark. Does a little bit of chip damage to Perza as per usual, but nothing too crazy. Also going to be picking up her shield and is going to be moving somewhere else with it. It seems that the play is now coming from a different direction. Osa now using it as a personal shield, walking on inside, trying to fully clear out this area as they realize the time is of the essence. Boo now dropping in. It's all hands on deck, but Cam Louie is going to be the first to fall as the site push commences.
Thunderbird gets one. Mute follows up with another one. What more will we see here? 2v4, but one of the players alive is Livid. The second one is Blue. They've both got some nice kills. Shrimp, though, will take out Livid as well. And it's shaping up to be a Fuel victory unless somehow Boo and Habana can win the 1v4 in the next 45 seconds. The X-Kairos launcher in hand, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't even get detonated as Perza goes for the aggressive swing into Cigar, and they win map number 1, which again was West Colorado's pick, and they threw their lead onto it.
Yeah, and with that pick out of the way, we are going to be going into Chalet, which will be allowing, I believe Fuel will be attacking on this map as well, and so
let me check.
They've been starting on the attack pretty much every single time. Not been having too much of a problem with the attacking side, but Chalet obviously is a map that has been more and more defender side as we've gone on, but I mean, after that Cafe performance, nothing would surprise me, Boxy. Nothing.
Yeah. Small correction. Fuel actually started off Cafe on defense. They defended first.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But they are starting Chalet on attack, so you're right about that one. And then, should we get to Theme Park, they will also be starting Theme Park on defense. So, yeah, just putting it out there. Honestly, like I said, I feel like WCU throwing, this whole map is just going to damage their momentum, their mental so much because it was their map pick, and I don't think we're going to be seeing a third map. I think Fanshawe, they win this one clean and simple, 2-0. Well, maybe not clean and simple because we did go into overtime on Cafe, but still, I do think that there's just no way for Western Colorado to come back, and they can feel free to prove me wrong. I'd be happy if they do. I'm just saying it's unlikely.
I do agree that it's after that one, very more likely that Fuel are going to be taking this one, not just because they've already gotten their opponent's map pick out of the way and won on it, but also just how they were able to do it. Ever since they flipped over to the attack, they had like a little moment where they just, completely flipped the script on their opponents. Nothing that WCU seemed to be doing was working, and they were frantically trying to switch up their operators every single round. So you could see the franticness was playing out in them. I mean, obviously it's good to switch up your operators, but it would be like super drastic changes. And none of them really, really worked. And even when we went into overtime, they continued to streak onto the attack and onto the defense. So that's going to start to swell up in your mind thinking, all right, maybe we don't quite got this, especially with Ella fragging you out every single round, knowing that there's a guy lurking around every corner, potentially could be him. It's not an easy feeling going into a map with as many rooms and corners as Chalet.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be throwing it to a 5-minute break. Then we'll be back with map 2 and potentially map 3 should we get to it. So don't go anywhere. Grab a drink, go to the bathroom, and we'll be right back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the match this evening. This is the NECC National Playoffs, and I'm joined by Boxy.
Hey, yo, it's me again. There's not much to say, really. We've seen a great game one, right? It was very, very close. It looked like a surefire game. It was, I think we were on 6-2 for quite a while. We were on match point with Western Colorado hitting it first, and then somehow, some way, Fanshawe, they clawed their way back into overtime, and they won in overtime eventually. It was 8-6 in the end. And again, wasn't even their map pick, so I'm scared to see what they will bring on Chalet, which is their pick. And speaking of Chalet, let's get straight into the bans for it. Predictions.
My predictions are out the window, man, after that last round. Both Thatcher and Valkyrie being allowed in, that's just something I'm not used to. But I would I'm still going to say Thatcher. Still saying Thatcher.
Okay. Oh,
I was right. Thank God.
There we go. I say we just load Phantom Forces game. We settled it this way. I don't know what we're settling, but maybe we're switching our stream to Phantom Forces. Sure.
All right. Well, this next pick, I would probably guess something like a Flores, just to try and make sure that you completely take the
Lion.
take that off the table. But
Jackal,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously, it was possible that they would ban the Jackal as well. That was something that they banned the last round, and then proceed to go with a whole bunch of roamers on their team.
With how much Lion was ran by both teams, I'm surprised he isn't banned now, because it really felt like Lion was impactful in so many brought in, and that's not something you can always say. Teams need to know how to properly use Lion in order for him to be effective, but it really felt like both teams were getting their money's worth out of the Lion that they brought on Cafe. Third ban is going to be Cade, which is, again, to be expected. In the last one, it's a toss-up between probably Amira and Valkyrie. But again, we've seen Valkyrie fly last time around, so maybe Mira, question mark? She's not as strong on Chalet, though, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like that too. There's definitely a lot of good counterplays.
Okay.
Echo, that's not one I was expecting, but I can definitely see the merit behind it. Echo is typically used for, plant denial and stuff like that, trying to go into the late game and stuff. So I could totally see the merit in banning him. But I still think it would be better off banning a Valkyrie, because you got to get to the site first in order to make that Echo ban useful.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it unfolds again. The fact that Valkyrie is out there again is slightly concerning. Yeah, and not being used. To be honest, I feel like it was mostly Fuel using her, because I remember complimenting Boo on using IQ to counter that. So I want to see what happens once we switch the sides or reverse the sides. But we're bringing a Thorn and a Rook and a Warden, and no one thought, hey, maybe I should just pick up a Valkyrie to help out my whole team with it.
Oh, you know what? Come to think of it, that probably is why they're allowing Valkyrie to slide, is because they're like, alright, if we see that Valkyrie is in, we'll just switch right over to IQ real quick, and we'll take out all the cams and make her just like a walking C4 and MPX. So that's probably, now that you mention it, why they're doing it, and using it to try and get rid of an operator that they are a little bit more fearful of, which it is potentially a very big brain thing to do.
I guess so, but it's still kind of, I don't know, it just makes your IQ player, they need to be very careful. They need to draw anything in front of them and then scan the entire map for cameras, which is just so time consuming. And I don't know, I feel like Echo doesn't give you the same problems. You can just leave the Echo up on the board. His drones are probably going to be much closer to side than the Valcans will be. If you want to play for that, then just ban the Valkyrie and bring the IQ when you see an Echo on the board. Same result, less hustle. No? Yes? Maybe?
I mean, maybe. They're going to be already opening up this window, but,
no.
Sorry.
I was just looking at the shield shenanigans. It just feels like utilities being placed down without any afterthought. It's just like, hey, I still have this in my pocket. I'm just going to throw it down. And then you vault over it twice, and you're like, hey, this is not a good idea. I'm just going to move it. But the window in front of you has already been shot open because it's 40 seconds into the action phase. So time management and utility placement, boys and girls, look it up. Sorry.
Yeah, Boo's already thinking that that's probably going to be the most likely avenue of attack, and I agree with him. They've got the Thermite probably moving over to that position, if I had to take a guess. And they have literally nothing preventing him from just walking up to that wall and putting a Thermite charge on it. So I think that WCU are starting to realize, man, we kind of left ourselves open for this. You see Extra Thick already making his way over there, and the line will be slowing things down, so should be able to get this up and rolling without anybody trying to go for too audacious of a peek. That will be site reached.
There's a little bit of chip damage coming out on both sides. Boo gets the entry, and that is the floor falling before he could really accomplish anything with the drones or flashbangs, but Extra Thick finds one. Boo with the second one, though. So WCU, they are in the driver's seat for the time being. Just over half the time gone from the round, and the attackers, they have some control. They have the breach open. They have some drones set up, I hope. And I do want to see how they execute onto the round. Boo being shot at, but no shots connecting as of yet. Smoke will obstruct the view for just a little bit, but Extra Thick equalizes the man count, gets a second kill, and now Shrimp, they're going for the plant. Extra Thick has to cover, but they will not see any C4s. Wallbangs coming out from Claude, but they're not getting. The plant is out, Livid's down as well. It's a 3v2 essentially. But oh my god, you just get shot at from below. How are you not ready for that? Claude takes some more damage from the Trex fingers, and Shrimp is down there below. He takes her out. It's a 2v2 again. Livid is down. He's getting picked up, but you've used up so much time for that. Boo and Livid, they have their job cut out for them. Perza, Shrimp, both playing outside. No one's very close to the diffuser counter that, besides maybe vertically, so that's not the best idea. The air trap's finally being deployed on the door, so no one can rat out on Ego. But it may be too little too late. The diffuser being stuck. Perza gets the one, make that two. A Shrimp picks up the second one. That was so chaotic.
Yeah, Fuel clearly better at wall banging through the floor than their opponents were. Literally in the exact same position was the gridlock, but somehow managed to avoid getting shot by just about every single one of those bullets. I mean, so yeah, that's one thing that's definitely gone better for them in that round. If you're WCU and you decide to go for that site again, I would say that they got to pick, something like a Bandit. They're already trying to do something like that right here, right now. They're probably going to pick a Mira to do more or less the same purpose, making sure that they're not getting pushed up too hard on there, getting a little bit of intel on their reinforced walls. And yeah, that was also a little bit of an issue in their setup, is that I'm talking about this on a map that Valk is not banned on. They were struggling for intel. As soon as their opponents made their way in, they didn't really have any idea of what they were doing outside of the site. So Mira and the Bandit accomplishes both tasks very well, I feel, Box.
Can we talk about how the Malusi, which was Claude, I believe, just like in this round, they were down below, they were wallbanging the planter, they hit a few pop shots through the floor, and yet the attackers were still clueless and someone being behind them in fireplace, and they let someone get capped to the back of the head off of that flank, after already being shot at from there through the floor. How are we so clueless? That is something that I'm very, very mad at.
Well, I could definitely agree that that was a bit of a mistake on Fuel's part, but they did eventually manage to catch Claude out, and it didn't hurt them too overly much towards the end. So it was a good recovery from Fuel from a potentially devastating error. But now they're going to have to see how WCU does up against this radical change. Another radical change coming out after a loss for WCU, but this time I feel like it's going to be a really good one, and it's the changes could definitely lead to them winning the round.
Interesting thorn placement. I haven't seen it there, but then again, I haven't seen much thorn recently. We've seen a lot of operators that don't get much play today. Sorry, go ahead.
I actually really like that because, oh, boo. That's painful. Taking down one of your main fraggers, the Mira, that's going to be a tough one to come back from. But what I was saying is I like the Thorn placing them there because that was the main avenue of attack. They're just really making sure that their opponents can't come from the same spot that they did last time. Those Thorn charges being there, if all else fails, they will still be able to explode and probably even kill one of the players that's pulled for the plant.
To be honest, Thorn charges, they detonate so slowly. Usually you don't use them for kills or damage, but at least they're a very good indicator of where someone is. Speaking of good indicators, well, just getting on cams and seeing 3 enemies there because they forgot to shoot out the default cam, usually a pretty great indicator. Yellow ping's coming out to help as well. Please, Fuel, for the love of God, just shoot out those default cameras. Recycle first will get a kill off of that ping. That was extra thick. Falls. He goes for a second one, leans the wrong way, misses the shots, but that's a kill nonetheless. Not only onto extra thick, who's been the top fragger for his team throughout the entire series. That was also the only hard breacher that Fuel decided to bring. So again, a huge pick. Even if Livid died to a team kill earlier on.
Yeah, and so that's going to make it so now especially they're not going to be able to do the same thing they did last time. Ooh, they're dropping pretty dang fast now. It's all on Brendo and Copper Tiger trying to buy himself a little bit of breathing room by using his last EE1D, but that does not save Brendo's life. Then at the top of the stairs, and he will soon find himself on the wrong end of the gun of Cam Louie. So it looks like the changes definitely making the impact necessary in order to win this one, Boxy.
If we pretend the team kill didn't happen, it wasn't flawless. Do we give it to him or not?
I'll pretend.
We'll pretend? Okay, let's pretend the airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars. No? Song reference? No? Okay.
What, sorry, I didn't catch it.
Let's pretend that our night sky are like shooting stars.
Oh, yo, I love that song. Yeah, I do love that song, I get it. But yeah, so not going to be able to go on that side again, but bringing the Bandit in the mirror ever since that first round where they had absolutely nothing preventing them from breaking through the walls. Seems like WCU has truly learned their lesson. They're going with more or less the same comp pick, except for switching out the Malusi for the Rook on a... Usually I would expect to see Malusi on this side above all other ones, but I mean, the Rook could definitely be a good pick here as well. They have been getting shot a lot in the chest by Fuel, so it could definitely give them a little bit of an edge in that department.
Yeah, I mean, you worded it pretty much perfectly. Basement defense, it's not something we've seen most teams go for. It just feels like post the Chalet rework, basement has kind of been neglected. Both pros and just other comp players tried playing it for a while because it was one of the greatest sites in their memory. But on rework Chalet, it's actually pretty tough to defend, especially once the attackers manage to get a breach open, be that trench or snowmobile. So usually it's, you know, top floor first, then second kitchen, or bar even. It's between the two, and then the tertiary, if not the fourth side played, is the basement. But I don't know, what do you think of basement being played so early on?
I think the way that they're doing it is very precarious. If they can get one of those sledge nades in there, they obviously put down the mute charge there to make sure that a potential Rotero drone doesn't come in and blow up everything, but it still doesn't stop one grenade from coming in and completely eviscerating their entire setup and leaving them very vulnerable. From what I could tell from the setup, they don't have too much of a backline set up after that, at least on that site. So it's just a very easily counterable thing in my personal opinion, and it looks like they are already going to be doing that. So already going in to try to pick up the pieces once again is going to be the Bandit going in for the Bandit trick.
My biggest complaint so far is that we've seen the gridlock to shoot the main doors down. We haven't actually seen any drones used. Also, a failed Bandit trick coming out from Claude, and the breaches open up so early on. There is a mirror there and a deployable shield next to it, so at least that's going on for WCU. But they have forfeit so much control, so much power early on that I really don't want to see how they end up holding out in the next 2 minutes.
Well, I mean, a good thing going for them is they have 3 C4s. So with these black mirrors, and the setup that they have this backline, it's looking a lot better for them than I originally thought. Brendo is going to be able to take down the Cam, so that's a good first look from, but the Thorn is pretty much already used for usefulness. It's not going to be that devastating as, ooh, Claude going for a nice peek upstairs. And Recycle Fur is going to be catching another one, not properly clearing out the other floors, and Claude clapping another one. That's Copper Tiger down. And just like that, what could have been a really good attack, or what I thought was going to be one, is quickly falling apart.
Oh, well, there we go. Speaking of the attack, Boo does get down on the swing through the thermite, rotated all the way around to also get a breach up on the bench. That's exactly what he's going to do there. But extra thick Ella taken out by Livid, who's now also going to be able to revive their teammate. Clawed down and killed by Perza, who's now left alone in a 1v3. Boo very low on HP, and Recycle first will throw themselves at Perza. So I guess winnable? Winnable? Question mark?
Not over. Absolutely not over.
I mean,
they
both sides
finally find that default cam, but they do generally know where he's at. Now he can't deviate too much from that path because of the amount of time remaining. He is still going to come down those back stairs, and it doesn't seem like they've got too much intel over this way. Boo is obviously wary of it, so now he's going to make his way over there. He gets absolutely dumped on, though. But, ooh, the Thorn, just as you were saying, they don't kill people, is going to be the demise of Perza.
That is tragic. If the IQ elected to sprint through instead, they would have been out of the blast radius. They would have survived. And the last person alive, I think, was on 20 HP. So that was such a winnable round. I feel bad for Fuel. That was... I've said it before when I said that I didn't think they deserved a few rounds that they've won. It was like always kind of just off of being lucky, off of WCU making huge mistakes. But last round, round number 3, was definitely one of the ones that Fuel they just off of that almost 1v4 clutch, and they ended up falling just short of it, and it hurts. My heart aches.
I
for
mean,
them.
Perza was under quite a little bit of stress, knowing that he didn't have a whole lot of time left, and that he still had potentially another enemy around that corner. And so I think he just kind of freaked out as soon as he heard the thorn mine going off. Probably didn't even know generally where it was. Maybe he even thought it was like on the other side of the wall that he had just tried to peek around. Didn't realize it was actually behind him. Something that he could have probably figured out if he had had the time in order to properly check it out with his IQ. But either way, it's going to be a good round going in the hands of WCU. They're now going on to their tertiary site. And that last site that we just played, which the basement is usually the tertiary site. And so this is looking pretty good for WCU, assuming that they have a good setup for this one. I normally see a Rooney on this site, Boxy, but I mean, obviously they still have a lot of great stuff going here. Not a whole lot of area denial, which is something that's usually a staple, but I mean, I'm still open to seeing how they're going to be doing this.
Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the WCU operator picks. It feels like all Warden, Brook, and Thorn are all those niche operators that you can bring, you know, the maximum of 1 in a given round. So grenade denial, which has proven absolutely devastating for them in Cafe, where they threw. They have pretty much no wall denial besides the mute, but I feel like the mutes are going to get taken out extremely fast, so a bandit would have been very helpful here as well. They have no intel either, so it's just, I don't know if they're going for comfort picks or what, but I'm not a fan of it.
I'm gonna take the side of WCU a little bit here. Ying has been a lot more picked, especially you see Extra Thick picking her up now. So that's why Warden has actually gotten into the meta a lot more, because just the prevalence of Ying and how devastating she can be. Good shot from Recycle first. That's one of your major soft breachers off the table already. So all the soft breaching gonna have to be done by Copper Tiger.
Yep, he got recycled pretty fast there. Claude with a kill onto Ella as well. Really hasn't been finding their footing, the Ella that is, as much as they have been in game 1. And there goes your Ella. Speaking of, I think Ying was brought for the first time, and we've seen Warden almost every round when WCU are on defense, or at least every second round. So I don't think that's really a justification. We've seen Warden play so much before the Ying got brought that it's just, I'm not a big fan of it. Regardless, the Blue get pushed out, stuck on the door frame, and eventually killed, but traded by Claude, so at least there's that 4v2 still for WCU as they are in the driver's seat. Ooh, what a shot from Claude! Make that 4! What a round from WCU as they again secure a round, increase their cushion lead up against Fuel.
Nice clean round from Claude once again. Those stairs are really his best friend on the last map as well as this one. So WCU having a pretty good defense. They haven't really had to switch things up too much after the first round. They've literally just been picking Mute, Rook, Thorn. They do sometimes switch in and out the Melusi, but ooh, just as I'm saying, they've come to a little bit of a meta, but they are going to be finally bringing out the Valkyrie in the master bedroom. I think that this is a good change as well. Last time they brought the Bandit as well as the Mira, which gave them the wall denial as well as the intel. Valkyrie does bring the intel, but if they do try and go for the wall again, I'm still a little bit worried about that, Foxy.
I don't know. Well, the Valkyrie, but you also mentioned that, you know, they could just see the Valkyrie bring the IQ. IQ's been picked initially by Perza. So Valkyrie, she has to be very careful with how and where and when, especially when she places her cameras. Place them out too early, spread them out across the map too much, and they'll all get taken out. Save them, you know, use them later in the round, and they could prove devastating for Fuel. Regardless, WCU, they've been doing pretty well so far in this matchup. They're 2 rounds up ahead going into round 5. And it could still be an even half, but again, WCU, they have been looking much stronger early game. Though I do want to say, I don't know, I don't want to say that they'll be winning Chalet too fast, because we all know what happened on Cafe, I guess is what I'm trying to say here.
Oh yeah, it's been the inverse caster's curse tonight, Boxy. Whenever we say something's gonna happen, it doesn't happen. But Yeah, gonna be looking to do a little bit of wall denial here is mute, and that can definitely be good, but again, this IQ is gonna be one of the major things that could be a downfall for the side of WCU on this defense. And you're gonna have to put them in predictable places, and you can just shoot them through the floor in a lot of cases, but ooh, are you gonna expect Claude to be in that spot? Almost shooting one right in the face as soon as they pop in the door. Going in from a different spot for the drone season. That's good droning coming out from fuel, and that will force back the Malusi. But I mean, at the same time, they I don't know where else I was going with that.
Well, Claude gets the entry, that's Copper taken off. I was gonna say I like the fact that the Gridlock is pushing in and being drone at the same time, but I would like for someone to help the Gridlock actually, you know, push out, go for the refrags. Droning is good, refragging better, or well, having both, I guess, is best. Regardless, some checks are being deployed, and there we go, the Evil Eye. The first Evil Eye actually finally being deployed. There goes the second one as well. But Livid, they lose 99% of their HP off of that. I hope the Evil Eye was worth it, as they'll probably get spotted and taken out by extra thick Ella. That's exactly what happens. And now all was in vain. Boo, though, hiding in the corner, just lurking there, gets Shrimp Father as well. It's a 5v2 with both Boo and Livid are low on HP. Claude now joins the club as he gets downed and needs to get picked up. He got down on the other side though, so it's going to be hard for them to be picked up, and Perza will make that impossible as they will finish Claude. Perza goes for the swing, looks in the right direction, but doesn't connect their shot just yet. Recycle, though, they definitely hit their shots. Extra thick Ella falls. WCU, they're in a 4v2.
Yeah, the biggest issue, aside from being down in the manpower-wise, is the bomb is also down on the site. That's a good little pickup from Brendo. But still, you've got the bomb down on the site. Your opponents know generally where you're going to be coming from. So that, with 40 seconds left, you're pretty much going to have to try and just brute force your way in there. You have a grenade in your back pocket, and they don't have any util denial like we brought up earlier. So that grenade could very well find its way into another kill, especially Livid, because he's just so low health. Even the tiniest grazing of the grenade will kill him.
Oh!
It's going to be going in. It actually takes down somebody else, so it's basically 1.01 per people left for Cam. He's going to try and keep him alive at this point. He's trying to keep them stuck out of this wall. But the bomb diffuser has been picked up, and they will be going for the hot plant. We'll lose one along the way, but the plant will still go off regardless.
Rook is just crawling on the floor, trying to be the intel giver. The plant goes down, so now the defenders know where the last attacker is. Anyways, they will hit Rook in the leg any second now. There we go. Perza actually gets to finally shut down by Cam, but it was, again, way too comfort. Fifth round goes to WCU, and they now have a huge lead over Fuel. I was gonna say, I wasn't a fan when it was I think a 3v3, 3v2, something like that, just before the plan. We had Boo, who was extremely low on HP. We had them rat in a corner in Piano, and then we had Cam swing off of the master hallway. And with how low Boo was, Cam was just being way too aggressive, but it ended up working out for them somehow, some way. It was way too big of a risk, and that was one round at WCU they really shouldn't have won.
All right, but they are still going to be chalking it up to their fourth round. Going back to Wine Cellar, this site surprised me a little bit. It's usually one of the sites that you don't like to go for very much. But again, WCU held it very, very well. Despite the mess up on the bandit trick, allowing the wall to be open, their fallback line was incredibly strong. And Claude being able to go on those flanks and shoot the people that are trying to get the vertical peaks is absolutely huge once again. So, I think coming into it this time around, in order to counteract that, Fuel are probably going to be a lot more careful about droning in, making sure that they, completely clear the top floor or whatnot before they try and hop in any windows or anything like that, because those were where two of their most devastating kills came from in the last round.
Yep. Again, you're spot on. I just have nothing else to add to that, honestly. But we're seeing the basement defense again, and that makes me anxious. We already touched upon why we don't usually see Snowmobile being played in comp, maybe in ranked every now and then, but why teams usually play other sides. We haven't actually seen Kitchen yet, I believe, right? This is round 6.
Yeah, we have not seen Kitchen yet.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I usually would expect to see Kitchen a little bit more than this site, but, I mean, obviously the strat is there for WCU, so I am not going to down it by any means necessary. Oh,
Well-
this time around, I think Thorn probably going to be enticed to throw that Thorn grenade in the same spot once again because of how she was able to get a kill with it. But now, Fio, I'm curious to see how they come in at it this time around. They're going for a lot more of an up from a top-down approach, like I was suggesting that they probably would, because a lot of their kills that were gotten against them were done by roamers. So this time around, they've got the gridlock. They don't really have too much else in terms of anti-roam, and ooh, they're able to catch out one already. That is a great start for the guys on Fuel.
Yup, Recycle First has been having a much better game here on Chalet compared to their Cafe performance earlier, where they were on Jaeger a lot, but they ended up just getting picked in the first 30-40 seconds, really didn't contribute anything besides the bar wire and the ADSs. So I'm glad that besides this round specifically, they've kind of been pulling their weight at least. But on the, I don't know, at the same time, Livid, look at them, 1 and 3. They went huge so many times when their team needed them on Cafe, and they've just been extremely silent. Which I guess it doesn't really matter, right? WCU, they're 3 rounds up ahead. I just find it very funny that one of their top performers stopped performing, and that's when they started winning.
I mean, hey, sometimes some people on a team pop up, and then the others, you know, pick up right for them when they need them. Livid, he's in a role where he's doing a little bit more of, you know, being the anchor, pulling down on site, getting intel with the mirrors, and just letting his teammates try and frag out. Claw's been doing a pretty good job of that, picking up Perza again, just as I'm saying that, giving him praise for killing people, goes and kills another. And extra thick Ella getting already shot back from those footholds that he made. But yeah, it's everybody from WCU has made their way back down onto the site, so the roaming phase has thoroughly ended. They can know that for certain, but they still don't really have a strong way into the site. They haven't done anything about the garage door. They've got a couple of top-down views, vertical angles, in the hatches, but
Oh god,
if they can just
oh
stay away from that,
god.
which unfortunately Livid can't, then they might be a little bit out of luck.
That was such a horrible bring around Rosie to watch, but Claude with the triple as they drop the hatch. Boo will get taken out as well, so it is a 2v2, but Sledge, they're insane. That's 4 for them, can then make it 5. They destroy the ADSs just for good measure. Oh my god, this could be shaping up.
Ace,
Yes,
baby!
let's
There you
go. Yep. Unrelated, but I've realized I've casted the entire game 1 and half of game 2 with my window open, and it's 2 a.m., so my neighbors, they're going to be very mad tomorrow.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm sure if you explain it to them real nicely that they'll understand. But
Yeah, no, they
yeah,
won't.
either way, good way to end the half for Fuel. It was very, very close, and it was all up to Brendo with the ace. Literally could not have done it without him. But yeah, WCU now going on to the attack. At the second half of the last map, it was where things really started to go south. They got one round and then just loss after loss after loss. And so it was also in part because they made crazy, crazy picks for their operators. And we're already starting to see that the first time we were seeing the Cali of this series, Boxy.
Yeah. We've seen so many different operators today that you don't usually see, at least not often. It's been an interesting one. Like, honestly, this matchup has been anything but stale, and I'm for it. As much as I complain about certain things, I'm the fan of variety, figuring out what works, what doesn't. Keep in mind, these playoffs, the NECC National, they are double elim, and we will be following the loser of this game into the second game as well. So nothing is lost. Even if you lose this series, you're still in contention for the $525 US that are promised to the winner.
Yeah, and you still get to get casted, so that's a double benefit. But yeah, WCU, they're bringing in the Cali, obviously, because they want to make sure that they can break that wall open. They're thinking that their opponents will probably bring some bandits or a mute, and they brought both. So they're going to use her in order to make the wall penetrable by Ace. Although Cali is not the most favorite operator for this task, I think that maybe Boo is just going to try and get his phase pomage on, get his snipe on, 360 no-scope some people.
Well, if only you did casted a Call of Duty game, so I think you're getting your snipers confused, but if that happens and we get a 360 no-scope, then man, I'm shaving my head.
Shaving your head? Oh, I'm going to hold you to that, 100%. I want to see it now. Boo, if you're watching right now, which you shouldn't be, but make sure you go and get that 360 no-scope. Style on him is, extra thick.
No.
Gonna be opening things up onto the IQ. Not really been used too much for a utility by WCU, but still, that is gonna be a 3 key player off the board.
Yep, extra thick though. They got droned out. They got spotted. They got the kill. Oh, no, it wasn't a 360. At least we didn't see it, so I'll choose to believe it wasn't. But regardless, we get the kill with the Kali, so she's already been worth bringing. They also made the breach openable, along with Ace, that is. And now Rataku's going to be swinging just that. The smoke canister, just a little bit of damage to M. They will live to fight another day. And now the 8 takes just a little bit too much. Shots are not connecting, but well, they will hit their shots for the falls. Nice clean headshot. Boo opens up the wall a little bit, holds a very long angle. +1 doesn't quite hit their shot either. And it's just a missing shot fest at this point.
Yeah, and that right there, that little exchange is why you bring the ward in. All 4 of the Candelas went out at once. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to hit too many people on the site. Oh, and just as I'm saying this, Copper getting whittled down to just little old him on the piano heady. Seeing one around the corner, but can't turn back in time. Cam Louie will be taking this one, and so got our one round on the opposite side of start from the side of WCU. Do you think, based off of that round, that it's going to be a similar thing that happened to them last time, where they struggle after the first round, or do you think that they are going to be able to slam the door shut on field on this map and then go into our overtime map?
Whatever I've said hasn't happened. I said WCU, they'll do horrible here. Their mental will be chalked. Feel they've, pulled off a huge comeback on a map that wasn't theirs. They'll excel on their map pick, and that isn't the case. But either we have WCU win this flawlessly, or at least very cleanly. We go to the third map nonetheless. Or we have Fuel somehow pull off another comeback just like they did on Cafe, and it's a 2-0. We'll be seeing a lot more Siege in the next few hours regardless.
Oh yeah, we're going all night, ladies and gentlemen. We've got
quite
another match
literally
after
for
this,
me.
and that is the best of things. Yeah, quite literally for you. You'll be up until the morning.
I gotta be somewhere at 1 p.m. I hope I get a few hours of sleep before that.
Yeah, I'm hoping so for you too. All you can do is just pray that WCU seals the deal in the next couple of rounds. Sorry, or that they get... I don't even know, that they get come back on by Fuel, I guess. But yeah, they are going to be going with literally the more or less the same setup here for Fuel and more or less the same setup for WCU. So I think it's just going to come down to... I think they more or less think that it was just not our setup, but our execution of the setup that made us lose that one. And so they're also knowing generally what their opponents are wanting to bring to the fight, so they can be a little bit more prepared in where they decide to position themselves and who they decide to peak in terms of the Kali.
Ella playing the same exact thing, and I get that they say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but at the same time, you got a clean entry, then you had 2 people chase you off of where you were playing. I'm not sure if doing the exact same thing again with the same set of utility next to you is the best idea, because you're probably going to get shut down, at least if your opponents are smarter than third graders and know how to adapt. And I do think that WCU rather, will do just that. If you pick goes to Rendo this time around, Boo will be the first one to fall. Recycle will refrag almost immediately, so that's the Kali and the Thorn off the board. Both had a lot to contribute during the round, but neither will be able to do that.
Yeah, and the Kali especially, that's their way in, more or less. How are they going to get rid of this now? They're going to have to throw some nades at the floor or something. I really don't know how they're going to be able to adequately get in there now. That Amaya Charge not managing to save him from the Candela, so he's looking to get pinched out now. This has always been their first step, WCU, on this attack. The shield is the one thing that's saving him, and they don't really have anything that can take care of it. So Extra Thick is going to be feeling a little bit extra cozy on these stairs, especially now that I believe Cam is still there looking to get the better of him. He is going to be hitting him with the Candelas, but
no, Cammy.
He doesn't have faith that he flashed him long enough to go in for the hit, but he will get him on the second attempt. Took quite some time to do that, though, Boxy.
Yeah, definitely the Wamai just burned so much time there, and honestly, just chug another Candela. You have 4 Cam. If you're not sure if the first one hit, just chug the second one, burn that for it. They get blinded. That's simple. Regardless, 1 minute left. It is a Claude very low on HP and no way into the site, like you mentioned, because the Kali died on entry. Smoke canisters being deployed a little bit early here for my liking, but if they get the job done, then who am I to say no? People are tossed out, fall short, doesn't end up mattering. Nice shot from Shrimp though onto Livid. Can he replicate that? One more. The Candles are coming out. The Cam just walks into the smoke canister, sprints through it now, loses 50 HP, looks the wrong way. Perza takes him out. Ace finally gets the breach open, but it's all up to them. 20 HP, diffuser in pocket. Not much utility to play off of, nor intel. Shrimp is there ready with the MP5K, finishes the round, and it was a clean one for the defense.
Yeah, one of the major differences is obviously that they were able to get rid of the Kali so early. Literally, the only reason why they were able to break down that wall that they went in to go and plant on after the fact was Kali being alive and being able to break it down. That was also where a lot of the good use of the Candelas were able to come from, just suppressing the people on the site, saying, "Oh, you can't peek us, only Warren can peek us," and they had one player. It would have been a 1v1 there between those two players, and they had the pre-aim. So yeah, the loss of the Kali really did change things, because they're still going to be bringing it, not really changing things up too much, except for the fuse, obviously, trying to get a little bit of a vertical angle on them and rain down hell from above.
Well, Kamika, I just want to point out the fact that going into round 8, WCU, they were 3 rounds ahead. Going into round 9, they're 2 rounds ahead. And, you know, we've seen that somewhere before.
And I want to point out the fact that WCU has a fuse and Fuel doesn't have a Jaeger or a mine, so they are quite literally sitting ducks on this site if they decide to stay on it.
The amount of rounds we've seen without grenade denial and no grenade kills is actually both painful and hilarious. We have seen a grenade down on Chalet, and before that, the only grenade kill that I can think of, I think the only grenade kill in the entire series, was the suicide that we've seen from, I believe it was Brando on Cafe?
Something like that.
I think that was the only kill with a grenade we've seen, like an actual confirmed kill, not just a DBNO situation. And that is interesting to say the least, but to each his own.
You're forgetting about the Thorn grenade. It's still a grenade.
Yeah, but it's a defensive grenade. We're talking about grenades that could be countered by either Romai or a Jaeger.
Yeah, I'm just messing. Alrighty, Recycle looking to do some roam clearing as you would pretty much expect. Fuel. That's the one thing you have to really worry about with this setup, is because if you can make sure that nobody is chilling off site, then you can confirm that they're on site, which makes the fuse pick even more beneficial.
Did you just see that? The strat coming out from WCU was Kali literally said, "I'm gonna stand with my gadget in front of the barricade. You shoot it down so I can shoot my gadget and get out of there," which was the worst thing I've ever seen. If anyone was anywhere close to fireplace or bar, Kali would have been dead meat. And wow, just drone out fireplace first and then shoot your things. I don't know. I know you're trying to go for an early execute, but a minute has been lost regardless. It was so risky and so reckless, and you gained nothing out of it. And now I'm mildly irked by WCU and their planning. Kind of hope you'll get this one.
He's just abiding by Sigma rule number 40, which is never drone, only swing. Yeah, he does eventually pay the price for it.
Okay, good
yeah, there
night.
goes the fuse. Exactly what we're worried about. But the roaming phase over, they can generally anticipate where these guys are at, and there's another one. Oh man, they're really gonna put a Jaeger after this.
Make it pretty.
Absolute chaos on the site. It'll be looking to hot drop in here soon. The good thing for Fuel right now is that they only have one more fuse charge to survive, and they have the bomb down on the site, so they are still, in theory, in a good spot.
The fact that the second fuse kill only happened because the Goyo canister prevented the person from escaping is hilarious. But back onto round, Perza gets the kill. Cam Louis gets one onto Brando because Brando was just AFK in the corner, standing at the person that was pushing them. 2v2 now, make that a 2v1 as Extra Thick finds Livid. And it's all up to Cam to clutch this one out. No flashes to burn out the Runegate, so they'll have to think of something else. Maybe even tank it. That's exactly what they do. But it's a 1v2 Extra Thick. Playing far away, Perza playing close. Can they get a nice fire going on? But there we go, Extra Thick finishes it off. Fuel gets the round, and I called it. For once, the opposite of Caster's Curse didn't happen.
Oh, you were spot on that one, Boxy. I was
maybe.
It looked like I was right to be concerned about the fact that they had fuse, because they were able to get quite a considerable amount of kills on it, cause a lot of chaos on the site. But unfortunately, they lost too much along the way namely the Kali. Like you said, a little bit how do I put this? A little bit not advisable the way that she tried to go for those swings without even trying to get any intel. And they could have literally had anybody offsite and try and shoot her from an above angle. And so I think that's something that WCU has to invest a little bit more time in next time around, is going for a little bit of droning offsite, especially because if you can confirm that they're all on the site or not really roaming too much, you can get so many fuse kills. That's something that I feel they should have been a little bit more on top of. But it's going to be
Defenders, protect your
still
bombs.
losing them another round, and Fuel are dragging themselves ever closer to WCU yet again.
I think you're focusing on the wrong things, though. Looking back at round 9, yes, it was a horrible, chaotic round, and I don't want to ever see a repeat of it. But we finally got to see, which was a first in 9 rounds or 10 now.
Is that the silver lining for you? We got
Yes,
to see Kitchen.
we got to see
Okay.
Kitchen. I'm very happy.
All right. Well, I mean, at least we got to see Kitchen, and at least Fuel for their Pencil are going to be able to win another round, getting themselves ever so closer to WCU once again. As I said, they've got themselves inside of one of the more
Attackers must
the
locate
gaming
and
site,
defuse the bomb.
one of the more advisable sites that people typically like to go to. In a pretty dang good setup, a lot of delaying things, pretty much like
Oh,
three
no,
quarters of their
Brent.
team are
No.
delay characters. So I think that this could definitely be a lot better of a site hold than we saw from WCU.
The attackers bomb
Yeah,
diffuser
that
is
aggressive
dropped.
swing from Capcan is very risky. In my mind, I don't know why we'd be doing that, but there we go. Copper, I was just going to talk about them. They were 0-8 before this gunfight on Jaeger. Again, not something you want to do, but at least they're 1-8 now, so that's a little bit better. Extra thick falls to Livid shots, and finally we're seeing some movement out of Livid, which again isn't something we've been able to say on Chalet so far. Brendo holding up in Master Bedroom, but Copper picks up a second through, I believe, the hatch up. There it is, highlighted beautifully by Apollo, our last second observer. Thank you all for subbing in. We haven't mentioned you yet, and we're almost halfway across our series, so that's on us.
Yeah, I like that they've got the Goyo right underneath the hatch, so they can. Oh man, I just noticed the fact that they brought Fuse again. So the fact that they've lost control over this top area is going to be a little bit difficult, but they do have a little bit of good counter Fuse action. They've got plenty of C4s to throw back up at them, and they know exactly where they're at now. So the push comes from Capcan, able to get out without a scratch, even with Claude coming in along the side. Huge plays from Brendo once again. You're able to take down not the Fuse just yet, but still got someone on the outside. You're gonna be able to take him out as well. It's all on the Fuse. You know where he's at. Once again, he just announced his presence to you. So I think it's only a matter of time before Fuel plays off this intel and finishes up shop.
Well, Perza got the case here. They can just chill. I don't know why they're swinging. They can hold the diffuser. Fuse has also been spotted on the camera in extra thick ela. They've exited server. Maybe a rage quit, maybe just a technical mistake. I guess we'll find out between the rounds. 1 minute left. Boo has 52 bullets in their LNG before they have to reload, and I don't think they're ready for Brendo. Perza still patiently waiting on the diffuser, which means that they are, in theory, separated enough for Boo to take 2 separate 1v1s, and that may be an oversight on the defensive side, but Boo wisely uses his time, goes on a drone, spots the Melusi, goes for the swing, doesn't quite connect because the Melusi is playing this safe now, and I do appreciate that. Timing out, Brendo swinging, gets the kill onto Boo, and that's another round for Fuel as they equalize the scoreline 5-5, as we call a technical timeout.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ella did have a little bit of a lag out, and so we are going to be just waiting until they get back. But yeah, Fuel, we've seen it in the first map, and we're starting to see it again now that they had a good start, but the finish has just been the major difficulty for them. They had a huge lead on Fuel, and here we are right back to square one once again. 2 rounds is all that is necessary for either team in a row in order to win this one. So I think that I think especially with the hot hand that Fuel has right now, that they could probably make the comeback successful. I mean, WCU, they have brought some strategies that granted are out of the box, but are working a little bit like they've picked up on the fact that their opponents bring absolutely no util denial and have brought the Muse in to punish that. But it's just the fact that they don't really have a whole lot of intel going on here, and they just get shot in the side as soon as their opponents know where they're at with their superior intel. So it's the major thing, moral of the story. that's separating these teams is the intel use of fuel.
I pray to God that Fuel didn't just demolish their momentum by extra thick Ella disconnecting at a very unfortunate time. They just tied it up. They were at an all-time high, and now they are on a break. They have to wait because apparently, according to Chad, Ella's power went out and they're coming back in a sec. But, you know, WCU, they have some time to talk it over now. They can go like, hey guys, what are we doing wrong? We had another 3-round lead and we threw it. Fuel, they need to keep their momentum, though, and that's a hard thing to do when you're just sitting in a lobby waiting, not playing. So, again, I don't know. I just feel like this came at the worst possible time for them, and let's see if they manage to prevail through it all.
Well, we'll be seeing just if they do or not. They, again, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're just tuning in the series, Map 1 did go into the hands of Fuel after quite the significant comeback on Cafe Dostoevsky, and we're seeing something similar starting to happen on Chalet. Will it come to fruition just like it did on Map 1? Will we be seeing history repeating itself? Find out after this break. We'll be right on back as soon as Ella's power comes back on. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, Extra Thick Ella has gotten their power back and will be rejoining the game after a little bit of a break. Now, one thing that you were mentioning, Boxy, is you're worried that this could have an impact on the momentum factor for Fuel. Do you think that the length of the break is going to be doing that now that we've come to the end of it?
I mean, normally I'd say yes, absolutely. I think it'll be detrimental to how the rest of this map plays out. But today, every time I've said something, with certainty, it just didn't end up. Always the flip side of it. So who knows, really? But for those of you that may have missed it, this is the second map in a row where it was a 5-2 score in favor of WCU, and somehow Fuel clawed their way back and equalized the score. We're on 5-5 now, and if Fuel win just 2 more rounds, it's going to be a 2-0 series in the NECC National Playoffs.
You know what they say, Boxy? It's not how you start the race, it's how you finish the race. And that's how it's been for Fuel the entirety of the night. This time around, though, WCU coming with a lot more meta of a pick, that be even as much meta as you can have with the Kali. But, I mean, they've been using her pretty decently when they haven't been just, trying to fly around corners and take some snipes with her. But, yeah, it's... believe it or not, this is the first time we're seeing the Maverick all night. So on this site, I think that the Maverick can definitely be incredibly beneficial to them, especially if they lose the Kali.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that the only hard breacher they went for is Ace. It feels like Ace recently has kind of been one of those more fraggy operators. And I know it's counterintuitive, but usually teams for breaches, they've been bringing Habana and Thermite recently, and then just kind of having Ace for the gun for the utility. But he is the only hard breacher that WCU decided to bring, if you don't count Maverick, which is more for, not actual hard breaches, but more for lines of sight and such. So that's something that kind of stands out to me. Again, not a fan of the Thorn pick, but it kind of ends up working out. Gridlock's one taken out, and not only is she one of the few positive people on her team, she also had the LMG, the track stingers, and the smoke grenade, so there's a lot of utility off the board grade early pick, and now there's a lot of room for contention close to those Ivy stairs. There's players from both teams playing there, but it's going to be Claude evening the score line, or the man line out, rather, as Brando called for a 4v4.
And this was the difficult part last time for WC when they were trying to clear, is getting the roam clear. They do finally get control over the stairs. I think they forced back the player on there just a little bit, but it's not looking good. It's not looking like it's going to be worthwhile for them as they lose another player. That's recycled down for the count. Unlikely to get picked back up in his current position, especially with Extra Thick staring down the barrel at him. Maybe they're just going to be trying to use him for a little bit of intel. They know now exactly where Extra Thick is at, but they fluffed the shots. That was a huge opportunity to kill one of the best players on the other team, and that is going to be coming back to haunt them, I would only have to think, Boxy.
4v2, Boo just above 50 HP, Claude far under it, and Boo taken out. That triple for Extra Thick Ella right after the reho as they hopped on Jaeger, decided to end careers of WCU. And oh no, a team kill as Spurs a fall. That's your teammate you're aiming at. Mind your fire. Triggered discipline is a thing that's thought for a reason, but it doesn't matter as Extra Thick finds 4 in the round with the 416C carabine and propels their team forward once again onto match point and series point.
Yep, match point. Or it's going to be overtime point. WCU, they literally need to win this round. Otherwise, they're going to the losers bracket right here, right now. Fuel, all they need is just one more. They're safe as it gets. So if they can... Oh, yes. They're finally bringing some anti-utility up against the Fuse. They've got the Wamai and they've got the Jaeger. Learning the lessons of the past, they will finally be investing in that, and this Fuse pick is not looking as good as it was before.
I was going to say, it's, the Jaeger and the Wamai pick are a little too late, but honestly, Fuel, they're a round up, and they still have a whole map ahead of WCU, so it's not even really too little too late. They can lose this comfortably, and then maybe even lose over time, and yeah, they're still my favorites, even for Theme Park, if we do it, just with how resilient they've been. WCU, they bring out something new, they demolish Fuel for a few rounds in a row, and then Fuel have enough of it, they go like, you know what, we're just gonna do exactly what we need to counter you guys, and they just pick apart WCU. So Fuel, they're my favorites, even if we somehow, some way end up going to theme park. But honestly, I don't think that's going to be necessary. I think we're going to have a regulation win, and if not, definitely an overtime we're for fuel here. So I may have just jinxed it. That's also very possible.
Yeah. And I mean, they are going in very hard on the fact that they think that this fuse pick will work, because all they've got really are soft breachers and anti-roam. So they are going to be also depending on the fact that one of their entry fraggers doesn't die, because he is their only source of hard breaching, bringing the hard breach charges Claude. It's going to be a really interesting thing to see if he's actually able to put those down. So they need to keep him alive now as well. So I'm anticipating that it's going to be a top-down clear. They've got the visual sitting here waiting for him. He's going to spot one. He sees the chest of him, but sees the chest of Boo, but cannot quite get around that shield. So intel being gained for WCU to try to get this push successful.
If only Brendo had like a very funny small round Pokeball on his throw at that particular shield, that would be very, very good for it, wouldn't it?
Window shield set up.
Oh, well, Pokeball can't be used anymore. Brendo will fall 13, 10, and 5. That's possibly all he could contribute in this round. 1 minute gone, and we've only seen a lot of breakdancing on those windows, but now the attackers are finally pushing into Solaris as well. And there's a lot of people congested on the side or right above it, but that's all they have going on for them. Fuse Charge will deal so much damage to Jaeger, and that's ironic by itself, but Recycle first finishes the kill with the second Fuse Charge. Third deployed and activated. Let's see if we can get a few more. Bandit tricking coming out at the last second, but will not be enough, I feel like. 5v3, C4 comes out, full short, doesn't even do any damage to the floor line, and will keep deployed as we near the 90-second mark round.
Oh man, I guess the Fuse strat is on point, man. It's all on Shrimp Father versus 4. They're gonna go to OT, man. The Fuse strat. Who would have thunk it, Boxy? They are gonna be pushing this one in just a little bit longer and keeping their chances for a map 3 alive.
Recycle put everyone else in the bin. Literally.
Literally?
Literally. In the
Literally.
bin.
Yeah, I mean, Fuel, they did pretty... Most of their wins came on, like, on the defending side, if I remember correctly. So the fact that they're going to be on that again, still feeling pretty good. That last round is going to leave a bit of a bad taste in your mouth, so you're going to be looking to get away from that as quick as possible. Bandit pick, Valkyrie pick, Thunderbird pick, this is all looking really, really good for them. Fuse, I think that they're going to be switching off of it this time, to be totally honest with you, when they see the fact that it's the master bedroom site as well as a Jaeger is going to be there.
I feel like, especially, post the Fuse rework of Fuse being able to fuse through reinforced walls, master bedroom is one of those sites where you especially want to bring a Fuse, because you can just put the Fuse charges on the breach where you want to breach, clear out all the utilities there, maybe on the breach, around the half wall, and in a bomb site itself. So I'm glad that we are staying on the Fuse, and hopefully we don't repick off of him, because you can pick Fuse for the verticality, and that's what they've done in, the kitchen attacks. But Fuse now, post-rework, has so many other use cases, and why not showcase them all? Recycle has only been doing well on that Fuse, let's be honest. I think 5, if not 6 of their kills are coming from the Fuse. Everything else is kind of just here and there on the Jaeger, on defense, sprinting around. Let's maximize that.
Yeah, the thing that I'm most worried about is the fact that they have the Fuse, but they don't have anyone to deal with the Bandit trick. That's what I was mostly thinking they could switch out the Fuse for, is someone like even a Kali just come in and get rid of the Bandit charges, because with those Bandit charges there, you can't do really much of anything.
Fuse the wall. It's gonna destroy the Bandit charges. If he tries to bend the trick, it's gonna destroy him as well. All there is. Very simple. Regardless, though, the C4 getting tossed out, no one there to catch it, but it will destroy your own mute jammer, so that's not something you want to do, mute. Maybe write that down for the next round. Tiger takes up a lot of damage, but their Thunderbird, they'll just heal up with those donut stations. Meanwhile, Blue deploys the Osa shield in the master bedroom window, trying to find a pick, but doesn't hit any just yet. Claude does spot a C4 through the wall, pings it, and I think takes it out, so that's a huge thing to do early on. Brando just sprinting around below, probably using those vertical cameras to get some picks, but none have happened just yet.
Yeah, one thing I do know though, Foxy, is if they do get that wall open, it is going to be hell on earth for fuel. You're gonna have the fuse charges, the candelas. You're gonna not know which way to run to get away from the fuse charge. But yeah, it's all a big if, and it appears that he's not looking to use them on that wall. It is still going to be bandit tricked. So he's opting to use them on the windows instead, not really yielding him the effort that he wants. They do find the Thunderbird though, so that's going to be at least a little bit of a good thing going for them as they lose the line and the Osa.
Yeah, especially Line being down so early is horrible for the attack, but now also Ace takes a lot of damage, gets extra thick, so it's worth, but Shrimp gets recycled in return. Claude low on HP, Cam still at full 1 smoke and 4 Candelas in pocket, but they gotta survive. That doesn't happen though. Brendo gets a double on the round. It's all up to Claude to clutch this one up. They're low on HP, Diffuser in pocket, 3 breaches and an AK, but is that enough? Only Brendo has suffered any damage from the defensive side, and they can heal up with those Konas regardless, so it doesn't even matter. 40 seconds left. Claude needs to push, but they're just stalling, doing nothing. It's not something you want to do. Or even his Claude still on the window behind that Osa shield finally goes down, but it's too little too late. As now we're just counting down the seconds as Fuel are about to secure the first round of overtime and again put themselves on not only match but series point.
Yep, not a lot of time for anything from the Ace,
okay.
and it goes just about as well as you think. Brendo on the cutoff angle, nice and ready to shoot him in it. So, yeah, I mean, he went for it. He tried to use the charges on the walls in order to make himself a quick opening to sight. Fortunately for him, that time those ones weren't bandit tricked. So, I mean, if he wasn't standing there, he could have maybe done it. But Fuel still going to be taking their defense, going on to the offense now. They didn't even really do that bad when they were on the offensive side, although most of their wins did come on the defensive side. They still were able to, mess with WCU on quite a few rounds, especially towards the end of the half.
Yeah, we're seeing a repeat of Cafe Dostoevsky, and we've seen how that one ends. So Fuel, they're almost surefire to win this series right here on the snowy Alps of Chalet, but they're still 1 round away, so WCU, they shouldn't be counted out just yet. Oh, they're walking a very, very thin line, and with all the random stuff they've been doing in the last few rounds, honestly, I don't have much hope for them anymore. I feel like this is already written in stone.
I mean, it all depends. Like, one thing I've learned from this game is that literally anything can happen. So, I'm not counting them out just yet. WCU, obviously, the odds are a bit stacked against them. But Fuel, crazy things can happen. You gotta be vigilant. You gotta be careful. You gotta keep up your good droning work. You gotta not take anything super crazy in terms of gunfights. Be slow, methodical, and that is the path to victory up against this WCU team. As long as they can keep sight of that, they will be golden and be looking to punch their ticket to the next round of the winners bracket.
Attackers are moving out to
Wow,
locate
that sounded very wise. We should write all of that down.
Yes, hashtag life lessons with Comica, dude.
Oh yeah, we should market that. That's something to build a brand around. You could make mad bucks.
Make a couple dollars.
Yeah. Back around though, we're back to just shooting open main doors and praying no one is there. Luckily, finally the IQ gets on a drone, but she could have done that before the doors were shut down. Doesn't matter, they're 30 seconds in, no contact just yet, but Claude getting aggressive in bar, that's something we've seen them do quite often. Hopefully it ends up working out for them better than it did last time. Everyone just kind of stagnating there, not sure whether through the bottom or through K9, or Ego as it's called nowadays. You can tell that Fuel, they aren't sure what they want to do yet. They're still talking it out a little bit. And I hope it doesn't take too long for them to figure it out.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Now, one thing I'll say is I've noticed that they brought the Zero, bringing out the SAM cams. I think that's, and combined with the fact that they've got some good anti-roam from the gridlock, they realize the fact that when they push this side a lot, WCU was on the flank quite a bit. They know that the Malusi is generally up here. They were very cautious about entering through the bar, in full view of the bar, not only because it's a very common angle to get shot from, but they did get shot from it the last time. Lado is going to be doing it to them once again from generally the same area. Still unable to clear it out, and from the bar, he will die from Brendo, not before he takes down the gridlock.
Yeah, well, Shrimp Father left some poor shrimps orphans, and that's always horrible. But it is a 4v4, 1 minute 15 seconds left, waiting on a slow execute coming out from Fuel here, and they may need to hurry it up because the time is working for the defenders. It's 6 man, as we often put it, and you need to do something soon. Cam gets a pick on the extra pick as well, but that's not going the way you want.
It's a good little crossfire that Livid has. As soon as they try to go for a cross, he is going to be able to get some nice shots on them. If he's able to hit them, obviously, he's going to definitely kill one of them. Having to use all of the finger buffs to get back up here. You realize that there's someone coming down beneath him. Good snapshot onto Brendo from him. Huh? Go ahead.
Are we getting one more? I'm just hyping Livid up. They've had a very quiet game after their huge performance on Cafe, and I was just saying one more, because I really hope we get one more.
There's your one more.
Well,
Who gets taken down?
Wrong side, though. That's Copper Timer getting booed. But there we go. Livid goes for the swing. Doesn't quite hit the shots. Tragic. But 15 seconds left, which means Fuel, they need to push in. They need to push in now. 3v2, a lot of yellow pinks helping them. But that's all they have going on for them.
Great swing.
But it's enough. Like you said, nice swing. Now the plant is being stuck. Livid getting aggressive. Just fails to catch anyone. And Jaeger's there right with him. I don't think the attackers know they're both behind him. Livid fights one. Gets refragged. It's a 1v1. Persa versus the Jaeger, but Recycle first will not only save Livid's life, but WCU's life as a whole, as they Livid and then defuse the diffuser to go into overtime. Not only overtime, max overtime.
Maximum overtime, and we are there with WCU. Who would have thunk it, ladies and gentlemen? But they will be getting their better side back for the second time, and so not only will WCU have to, they've won on the defense quite nicely, but now they'll have to win on the attack. Something they haven't really been able to do too much unless they have a fuse with no anti-util operators on the other team.
Well, at least we're seeing... I don't know. We've been seeing a lot of yellow operators today. Look at it. The first 3 picks are OSA, IQ, and Lion. We just need a Blackbeard and a Blitz, and we'll have a full yellow team.
Oh, you're talking about the color scheme of the icons. I like that.
I just find it super funny because OSA, IQ, and Lion were the first 3 picked ones, and it was just like all yellow. They call it rainbows, but it's really yellow 6.
Yeah, I was trying to make a Coldplay reference, but yeah. Anyways, having a little bit of a hard time getting into this one, but it's pretty much... I don't see too much changing on the side of WCU on this attack. They did have it be successful the last time they did try to do it, and it was... Was it on this site? I don't think it was on the site. I think this is the first time that we would have seen them win this site, but even when they did bring the fuse the last time, despite the fact that they had such great potential with it, they all grouped up on it, and they weren't really watching too much off-site. Their lack of intel was what really killed them, I remember it now. Is as soon as they start putting down those fuse charges, they're like, alright, he's fusing us from here, which means he has to be here. They go up the stairs, and they shoot him. So, yeah, I'm just thinking that WCU, they have to do a little bit more getting control over the outside lanes and the ways upstairs if they want to be looking to utilize the vertical perspectives.
I can't wait to see how Fuel and Brendo in particular decide to play the Pulse. I really want to see something huge happen with it. I feel like there's definitely room for it. We haven't seen much Pulse play in this game. Is it the second time we're seeing Pulse? Right?
It is the first time. It's actually...
First one? Okay.
Good thing you bring that up.
Yeah.
Because it's a complete response to the fuse.
It's also one of those rounds, one of the only few rounds where WCU aren't bringing an IQ, so they also shot themselves in the foot with that. And I really want to see, really want to see what the Pulse can accomplish. But on the flip side, there's 2 UMPs, the 2 UMPs on both Castle and Fuse, and that's lacking, to be honest with you, because it is, as they put it, the worst gun in the game.
I generally believe to be one of the worst guns in the game. He's waiting to tell him to explode the C4 until they're actually inside. He's got the pulse pings, seeing where they're at. There's one literally right above him. He's waiting for him. It's generally right above it, but he's unable to get the fuse with that one. So he's going to have to call out game for the rest of his teammates. The only one that actually has... they actually have 2 more C4s now that I see it, so they can definitely get rid of the fuse. The vertical.
even if they don't get rid of the fuse with the C4s, at least the fuse now is going to be a little more careful with his fuse charges, I assume. He's not just going to stay in one spot, he's going to be moving constantly. And there's that, you know, the threat of a pulse below you is sometimes better to have than actually having a pulse below you. It's just, it's going to put the fear of God into WCU, I think.
Attackers
Yeah.
dropped the diffuser. Attackers
So the
recovered
fuse is going to
bomb.
outlive his usefulness now. They all literally raid off the site, and I think, again, they should have been prepared to capitalize on that. The only way you're going to avoid it is if you run away from the site. You need to have some people that are ready to, you know, capitalize on that. Not only make sure that you don't get pushed upstairs, but make sure that you can catch your opponents as they retreat off the site. Ooh, Livid. Good first opening kill of that round as the Mira. And so, yeah, it's going to be a...
Yep, through there playing the Mama Duck, just walking ahead of his teammates with the shield up. Let's get taken out. Shrimp, that's two for him. Huge picks. Can he make it more? Not as of now, but it is a 4-3 fuel. Again, they're chilling. 25 or 35 seconds left. Still have a C4 in their pocket, but that's all they have going on for them. It's better than what the attack have, though, if they're just stolen, don't know what to push. There's still stuff that should have been opened up a while ago, castled off, and there's not much a WCU can do here. If they lose, this is it. They lose the whole series, the whole map, everything, and they are relegated to the lower bracket. Brandon gets one. Cam Louis, he keeps his team in contention by getting Perza as well. It is still a 2-3, but Cam, he pushes in. Finally, Claude falls as well. 6 seconds left. And with a triple, though, can he make it? 1v1 sprinting around with the pistol. No diffuser can plant. No clue where the final defender is. And that is how Fuel win the matchup against Colorado.
Wow, Fuel really making me, you know, sweat a little bit there for them, but they're still able to get it out in overtime. And hey, sometimes you don't want it to be in any other way. It was exciting games from start to finish from Fuel and Colorado. But, I mean, at the end of the day, there can obviously only be one winner, and that is going to be Fuel. They're going to be moving on to the next round of the winners bracket, but we're going to be sticking with a little bit more of Colorado as they'll be going up against another opponent. I do believe they are still in map 3. We get confirmation on that later, as well as who they're going to be going up against. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, don't really have a whole lot to say about that. The end of the game, everything that's been said has already been said. So, until the next round, we've got you with a little bit of a break. Don't go anywhere.